Chapter 123. Sang Mo, who was in the middle of flying, suddenly stops. He immediately takes out the transmitter and scans it with his spiritual sense. His expression instantly turns sluggish. However, after a short while, Sang Mo's facial muscles start to twitch. His eyes flash with an ominous glint. Haha, Sang Mo starts to laugh maniacally. His voice is as crazy as a crow's shriek. Sang Mo restrains his laughter. His eyes are filled with killing intent and extreme excitement. Lu Xing, as I expected. You are that Xiaxionist. Haha, the heavens are helping me. You killed my son, massacred my clansmen, and made me lose face in front of the protectors. Now that I know you betrayed the cave master. If I don't destroy your soul, how can I continue to live? With a sinister smile, Sang Mo rolls up his red robe, and his entire body turns into a red light. He changes direction and rushes towards the red blood cave. Times from the appearance of the Black Eagle to Baiyin's death, only a short period of time has passed. During this period of time, Baiyin, Ran, and Mu Su were all killed. However, that Yizhong turned traitor and killed Ran instead. This is really shocking. Big brother, after reaching the Yuanying stage, my strength has increased by several times. Killing a mid-stage Yuanying brat is as easy as flipping my hand. I even have some confidence against an early-stage Dongshu stage expert. Kuro says proudly while flapping his wings. Qin Yu is shocked. Haha, Xiaohei, you said you are at the early-stage Dongshu stage. Don't brag. Do you think you are a divine beast? Qin Yu says with a laugh. Hei Yu, on the other hand, was enraged. He angrily said, What do you know? This is my secret. You see, as my power increases, my transformation will also be great. When I went through that forbidden technique, I suffered so much pain. Do you think I suffered for nothing? Qin Yu is very clear. According to what he said, Xiaohei needs to undergo 9 heaven tribulation to completely transform into a human. Normally, only divine beasts would need to do this. However, if Xiaohei was a divine beast, why was he slightly weaker than Chago, who was in the middle stage of Yuanying, when he reached the late stage of Jin Dan, and used the forbidden technique 3 years ago? Qin Yu couldn't figure this out. He always felt that Xiaohei was weaker than the mythological beasts. Qin Yu and Xiaohei communicated with each other, using their spiritual senses, while Yizhong remained motionless. Xiaohei, how do you think we should deal with this guy? Qin Yu deliberately asked while looking at Yizhong. Kuro also turned around and looked at Yizhong. A green light flickered in his eyes, and an evil aura pressed down on Yizhong. Yizhong is the first to speak. Protector Lu Xing, I know that with Senior Black Eagle and you joining forces, Baiyin and the rest won't be a match for you even with me. Since I'm not a match for you, I don't want to die like this. I hope that Protector Lu Xing will take me in. Even if Protector Lu Xing replaces Chago in the future, I will definitely stand behind Protector Lu Xing. Oh! Qin Yu looks at Yizhong, but doesn't say anything. Instead, he waves his sleeve, and waves of star power roll out, directly taking in Ran, Mu Su and Baiyin's Yuanying. At the same time, he also takes in their storage bracelets and spiritual weapons. These 3 Yuanying unexpectedly didn't self-detonate in the end. Qin Yu cannot help saying laughingly, as he recalls the scene of Xiang Yang's self-detonation. If the 3 of them had self-detonated, Qin Yu would not have been able to obtain their Yuanying at least. Yizhong, however, says, Protector Lu Xing, only idiots would self-detonate in Yuanying. What kind of idiot is that? Qin Yu asks in reply. Yizhong says directly, when a Zuyuist is killed, his soul will still stay in his body for a split second, which is enough time for him to self-detonate. Having the conditions to self-detonate is one thing. Having the guts to self-detonate is another. Firstly, once a Yuanying self-detonate, the enemies nearby will sense the energy waves, and will avoid it extremely quickly. Even if the self-detonation can injure the enemies, it can't kill them. Secondly, which is also the most important reason, once a Yuanying self-detonate, his soul will also be blown to smithereens. A faint smile appears on Yizhong's face. Firstly, it can't kill the enemies. Secondly, it can also cause one's soul to be blown to smithereens. How many Zooists would dare to do that? All of them are very clear about the terror of having their soul blown to smithereens. Once their soul is blown to smithereens, they will truly disappear from the world forever. A hint of solemnity appears on Yezhong's face. Qingyu and Kuro exchange a look. Yezhong is right. Generally speaking, it is really difficult for yuanying self-detonation to kill the enemies. After all, even self-detonation takes some time to activate, and the enemies have enough time to avoid it. Even if they are seriously injured, they won't die. Who would be willing to have their soul blown to smithereens if they can't kill the enemies? But the only use of yuanying self-detonation is to prevent the enemies from obtaining your yuanying. Yezhong says smilingly. Qingyu immediately bursts into a smile. In this battle, he obtained 3 yuanying in one breath. After all, yuanying is the energy core of those Zooists. This time, after going back to practice properly, he will definitely make a great progress. Then why didn't Baiyin and the other 2 self-detonate? Qingyu says. If they self-detonate, won't that mean that I won't be able to obtain their yuanying? Looks like they are still cowards. Yezhong says disdainfully. Self-detonation? Do they dare to? Moreover, that Ran and Baiyin basically didn't have a chance to self-detonate. I directly smashed the Ran's head with a punch and destroyed his soul at the same time. Senior Black Eagle also destroyed Baiin's head and destroyed his soul at the same time. Without their souls, they won't be able to self-detonate even if they wanted to. As for Musu, since he's already dead, what's the use of yuanying? Such a selfish person wouldn't have the courage to destroy his own soul. Yezhong looks at Qingyu doubtfully and says to him, Guardian Lu Xing, could it be that you don't know that this soul is very weak? It can be destroyed directly with just a blow. Qingyu is astonished. Qingyu hasn't thought too deeply about this. But when he thinks about it carefully, this is indeed the case. Just now, when Qingyu killed Musu, he only destroyed his heart. If he had directly destroyed his head and shattered his soul, that would have been the most straightforward way to deal with him. Kill the enemy and destroy his soul, so that he will never be able to turn the situation around. It's not just the soul. Even if the yuanying fuses with the soul and leaves the body, it will still be extremely weak. You see those super experts who lost their bodies. Why did they cultivate as loose immortals? It's because even though the yuanying has a lot of energy, its defense is too weak. It doesn't dare to attack the enemy. Qingyu immediately understood what he meant. Even experts who have reached the insightful emptiness realm wouldn't let the yuanying fuse with the soul and leave the body to fight with others. Firstly, the yuanying's defense isn't strong enough. Secondly, the yuanying fuses with the soul. Once the yuanying gets injured, it's very easy for the soul to be damaged, which is fatal. After losing their bodies, those super experts have to cultivate as loose immortals and gather the body of a loose immortal to protect their core yuanying. At this moment, Qingyu has a good impression of this Yezhong. Yezhong, this time I betrayed the cave master. If you don't die and inform the cave master, what should I do? It's not a good idea to cut the weeds without removing the roots. I have no reason to let you go, Qingyu says in a low voice. Hearing Qingyu's words, Yezhong's face instantly turns serious. Yezhong raises his palm and says seriously, I, Yezhong, swear to the heavens that if I betray Guardian Lu Xing and reveal his secret, then I'll be struck by lightning. My soul will scatter, and I'll never be reincarnated. Yezhong's voice is loud and very serious. Qingyu and Kuro both felt a special feeling. It's a feeling that can only be felt by the soul. It's a feeling of the heavens and earth. All right. Qingyu smiles. As a cultivator, Qingyu is very clear about oaths. If these oaths are violated, then they will definitely come true. Perhaps in the mortal world, there are some ignorant mortals who would casually swear. Qingyu and company don't dare to casually swear. However, you and my second brother Kuro should hide for a period of time. When everything is safe, I will directly inform you through the transmission token. Qingyu has already made a plan in his heart. He immediately says to Yezhong. Yezhong smiles and says, I understand Guardian's meaning. I believe Guardian Lu Xing still wants to push the responsibility to me. Qingyu gives a smile. Having a clever subordinate, especially one who will absolutely not betray him. This kind of feeling is pretty good. Guardian Lu Xing, I have something to tell you. It's very important. If we fail, I'm afraid your plan won't work. Yezhong's expression is somewhat solemn. Qin Yu also looks at Yezhong, waiting to hear what Yezhong has to say. Guardian Lu Xing, Baiyin already used the transmission token to spread the news that you're a traitor. Qin Yu's face changes color at once. Oh no. In a split second, Qin Yu's entire back is drenched in cold sweat. Once the news of his betrayal spreads out, the master of the Red Blood Cave will definitely not let him off. Blood-red aquatic pythons are extremely formidable demonic beasts, and have reached the early Dongshu stage. It's really hard to say how powerful Shahon is. Guardian Lu Xing, you don't have to worry. Yezhong says confidently. Qin Yu looks at the current Yezhong. Seeing his confident appearance, he cannot help having a hint of expectation. He immediately asks, "What kind of plan do you have, Yezhong? Don't hesitate to tell me." Yezhong says with a nod. Guardian Lu Xing, all the guardians of the Red Blood Cave have their own plans. Which of them is absolutely loyal? Even if Baiyin tells the other guardians about this, will they still dare to take the initiative to spread the news? Guardian Hou Fei's power is not to be trifled with. As soon as these words come out, Qin Yu feels relaxed. With Hou Fei around, will those people dare to oppose Qin Yu? What's more, is what Guardian Baiyin said true? Yezhong laughs strangely. Qin Yu stares blankly for a moment, then laughs too. That's right. Was the news that Protector Baiyin passed on definitely true? Could it be that it was Guardian Baiyin who framed him? In any case, all the witnesses at the scene are dead, and the dead cannot testify. If Qin Yu still does not know what to do at this point, he will be a real idiot. Baiyin, he said that I betrayed him. Can I say that he betrayed me? Besides, I have a witness. After discovering this, Qin Yu changes his plan again. Originally, he did not want to let Yezhong go back and hide outside for a period of time. Now he wants to let Yezhong go back. He is a great witness. The main reason is that Yezhong was seen as too honest in the past. Yezhong also nods. However, Guardian Lu Xing must kill one person. That person is Sang Emo. Sang Emo has a grudge against you. If he knows about this, he will definitely think of ways to bewitch the cave master. I know the cave master. Although he is ambitious and ruthless, he is also very suspicious. Once Sang Emo succeeds, then Qin Yu hears Yezhong's words and his heart is clear. Outsiders may be afraid of Hou Fei's power and will not provoke Qin Yu. After all, even if they report it, it will not benefit those people. Instead, they will offend Qin Yu. However, Sang Emo is different. He will definitely think of ways to deal with Qin Yu. Not good. He is now in the cave. Even if I rush back at full speed, it will take more than half a day. Qin Yu's expression changes. Zhuang Zhong says smilingly. If my guess is correct, that Sang Emo must have followed us out. Now, Guardian Lu Xing only needs to send a message to Guardian Hou Fei and let him investigate. If Hou Fei is in the cave master's residence, kill him directly. If he is not in the cave master's residence, kill him immediately. If he is not in the cave master's residence, let Guardian Hou Fei prepare to kill Sang Emo outside the Red Blood Cave. However, Qin Yu thought of something. If Sang Emo knew about this and directly told the cave master through the transmission token, it would be terrible. Yezhong seems to have guessed Qin Yu's thoughts and said, Guardian, don't worry. The cave master definitely doesn't know. Since 100 years ago, the cave master has often been in closed-door training, and it is taboo to disturb him when he is in closed-door training. Even when he is in closed-door training, he doesn't even bring a transmission token. This is something that almost every guardian knows. Qin Yu smiles. He and Hou Fei have just arrived at the Red Blood Cave, so they don't know about this. Fei, quickly go and check whether Sang Emo is in the Blood Red Cave or not. If he is, kill him directly. If he isn't, then kill him. If he is not, prepare to kill Sang Emo at the entrance of the cave master's residence. No matter what, you must not let Sang Emo see the cave master. Through the transmission token, Qin Yu sent this message to Hou Fei. Hou Fei, who is more daring than the sky, is the best at doing this kind of thing. Qin Yu is also very relieved. Guardian Lu Xing, I still have a secret to tell you. This time, in order to show his loyalty, Zhuangzhong seems to want to tell Qin Yu everything. In fact, Zhuangzhong also knows that if he hides a secret, it will not be a good thing when Qin Yu finds out that he is hiding something. Yezhong can see clearly that Qin Yu now has two super experts, Kuro and Hou Fei. According to his judgment, Hou Fei and Kuro are at least at the late stage of yuanying, or even stronger. With such strength, it won't be a problem for him to rely on them. Qin Yu's face shows a trace of a smile. Oh, what secret? At this moment, Qin Yu is also very satisfied with Yezhong. Yezhong says seriously, no matter how diligent a person is in cultivation, he won't go into closed-door training for 100 years. According to my investigation, Shahon wasn't this diligent 100 years ago. 100 years ago, there were more than 20 guardians in the Red Blood Cave. But for some reason, more than half of them suddenly disappeared. Combined with his frequent closed-door training in the past 100 years, I think that Shahon has been in closed-door training for 100 years because of something, and this thing must be related to the disappearance of those guardians. Yezhong's eyes flashed. Chapter 124. Inside the Blood-Red Cave. I'll massage my lord's shoulders. A gentle and charming maid says to Hou Fei beside Hou Fei. While speaking, she wants to massage his shoulders. Another maid brings a plate of fruits in front of Hou Fei, and even peels the fruit for Hou Fei. Hou Fei blinks his fiery eyes twice. His entire body seems to be petrified. However, in just a moment he roars angrily. Get out, get out! Hou Fei glares with his fiery eyes. His entire body seems to be extremely angry. He directly kicks the two maids out. Hou Fei stared at the two maids that he had pushed out, breathing heavily through his nose. Damn, this woman is really a scourge. At this moment, he can still feel goosebumps rising on the places where the maids touched him. That chap really doesn't know whether he's good or bad. Why did he hire a few women as servants? Hou Fei snorts. At this moment, Hou Fei utters an S sound. Who's sending me a message at this time? He flips his hand, and a message token appears in his hand. Once he becomes a Dharma protector, the Red Blood Cave will give Qin Yu and Hou Fei 2 message tokens each. Sang mo. Hou Fei licks his lips with his scarlet tongue. With an ominous glint in his eyes, he says with a strange laugh. Big brother, you've finally been enlightened. Kaka, I've long found that Sang mo an eyesore. After saying this, Hou Fei spreads out his spiritual sense and begins to search carefully. Although the Red Blood Cave covers a large area, it is still completely covered by Hou Fei's spiritual sense. This Hou Fei is really very arrogant. He's searching for people in such a direct way. Inside the Blood-Red Cave, there are only 2 people whose spiritual sense surpasses Hou Fei's. One is Teng Bai, and the other is Shahon. At this moment Teng Bai, who is sitting cross-legged in his room, opens his eyes and says to himself, then why is Hou Fei searching with his soul sense? After thinking for a moment, Teng Bai smiled. He was not interested in other people's affairs. What he was interested in was the upcoming battle with Hou Fei. As for Shahon, who was trying his best to open the seal on the black jade box, he didn't have the time to think about what Hou Fei was doing. He's not here. Hou Fei let out a breath through his nose, and his eyes flashed with a fierce light. You're lucky. You won't die for the time being. But if I take action, you won't have any hope of survival. Master Hou laughed strangely, and his whole body turned into a shadow and rushed out of his courtyard. The 2 maids who were pushed out were still complaining that Hou Fei, this damned monkey, did not know how to flirt with women. However, a gust of wind blew through the gate of the courtyard. Yener, has His Excellency gone out? An oval-faced maid blinks her big eyes and says. The other oval-faced maid also nods, but they are also amazed by Hou Fei's speed. After all, these maids have reached the Jin Dan stage, but even they Zuyoists cannot see Hou Fei's figure clearly. It is easy to imagine how fast he is. Hou Fei's figure suddenly appears at the entrance of the Red Blood Cave. His Excellency. As soon as the guards of the Red Blood Cave see Hou Fei, one of them hurriedly says respectfully, What's the matter, His Excellency? Can we help you? These guards all know how formidable this new monkey-like guardian is. Ho Fei glances at the guards on both sides of him and says laughingly, Master Ho, I don't have anything to do. I'm just waiting for someone. Right, how long has it been since Sang Mo Protector left? One of the guards hurriedly says. Reporting to His Excellency, Sang Mo Protector has been out for more than half a day. Hearing this, Ho Fei turns his hand, and a transmitter appears in it. He directly sends a message to Qin Yu. After receiving the transmitter, Ho Fei leans against the entrance of the cave and stares outside the cave with his fiery eyes, waiting for Sang Mo's arrival. Times, big brother. That bastard Sang Mo isn't in the cave. He's been out for more than half a day. But don't worry, big brother. I'm already waiting at the entrance of the cave. As soon as I see Sang Mo, I'll turn him into a meat patty. Kaka. Seeing this message, Qin Yu looks at Yezhong with appreciation. Yezhong's prediction is very accurate. According to the news, Sang Mo has been out for more than half a day. It seems that Sang Mo really followed us out. Qin Yu says with a smile. Yezhong's eyes brightens and hurriedly says, Protector Lu Xing, in terms of speed, between you and Sang Mo, who's faster and who's slower? In terms of speed, 3 years ago, even if Sang Mo used his true body to fly, he still wouldn't be able to catch up to Qin Yu's speed. 3 years later, Qin Yu's speed is much faster than Sang Mo's. Even if Sang Mo used his true body to fly, he still wouldn't be able to catch up to me. Qin Yu says with a smile. Yezhong hurriedly says, Since Sang Mo has been following us for so long, he shouldn't be too far away from us at this moment. If we chase him now, there's still hope to catch up to him. If we kill him before we reach the cave, then it'll be easier to solve this problem. Kuro says via Holy Sense communication. In terms of speed, Big Brother is also inferior to me. I'll go. After saying so, Kuro prepares to chase after him. Xiaohei, you're still being chased, so you can't enter the territory of the Blood Red Rich. How about this? You can chase after him, but if you catch him after chasing for more than half of the distance, you can immediately give up and stop chasing him. Qin Yu says emphatically. Kuro nods his head like an eagle. He naturally knows that Qin Yu is doing this for his own good. This is not the time to confront Shahon head-on. All right, big brother. No matter whether I catch him or not, I'll leave right away afterwards. After you've finished dealing with this blood-red cave, you can contact me directly. We brothers also need a territory in the underwater Shuyao world. I think the blood-red cave is a good choice. The Black Eagle's eyes glitter with a cold light. Qin Yu gives a faint smile. Territory? If not for the Red Blood Cave's territory, why would he be feigning civility with Shahon? After all, Ho Fei and Xiaohei are here, so it'll be very difficult for Shahon to deal with him. But if he wants to seize the Red Blood Cave, it'll be a bit difficult. Firstly, even though the power of those 5,000 guards is average, they have a lot of people. Moreover, Qin Yu suspects that they will definitely use a formation to attack together. After all, they have a lot of people. If they attack together, it'll be very terrifying. Secondly, those guardians are not easy to deal with either. If he confronts them head-on, the guardians will definitely have to fight against them. Therefore, it'll be easier to deal with them from the inside. Don't worry. Yezhong, you're slow, so stay behind. Xiaohei and I will go first. Qin Yu says directly. Kuro utters a shrill cry. Blood-red lightning starts to spread on his wings. With a shake of his wings, Xiaohei turns into a red beam of light and leaves Qin Yu far behind in an instant. Qin Yu also drives his flying sword and uses the man-weapon unification to chase after him extremely fast. Times Sang Mo shuttles through the water extremely fast. I really can't wait to see the scene of Lu Xing fleeing in panic and being hunted down. This time he definitely won't be able to escape. Haha. A sharp, evil laughter comes out from Sang Mo's throat. Right afterwards, his entire body turns into a huge octopus. When Sang Mo turns into his original form, his speed immediately increases by a lot. When Sang Mo first started to follow the 5 guardians, he pulled far away from them. When he received news from Baiyin, he immediately started to hurry. After Qin Yu and the others killed Baiyin and the others, they spent a lot of time discussing with each other. In other words, Sang Mo started to rush towards the Red Blood Cave very early on. When they came out, Sang Imo flies leisurely. When they return, he uses his original form to rush back. The two speeds are completely different, so naturally it takes a lot less time to return. Times a red beam of light shoots past. Wherever it passes, there are surging undercurrents. Suddenly, the red beam of light stops. I actually didn't catch up. Kuro looks ahead with his eagle eyes, then decides to stop. In fact, in order not to worry Chinyu, he only rushed halfway. With Kuro's speed, he can definitely catch up to Sang Imo if he continues to rush. However, Kuro is currently being hunted down by the Red Blood Cave. It's better to stay away from the Red Blood Cave. With Fei's strength, Sang Imo won't be able to withstand even one move. It's useless for me to chase after him. It's better to let Fei do it. Kuro then directly sends a message to Chinyu, then flies in another direction. In Kuro's opinion, with Hofei around, Sang Imo is definitely dead. Only after a while, Chinyu also flies to the place where Kuro was a moment ago. I wonder where Sang Imo started to rush back. Plus, he's much earlier than me. Chinyu does not slow down. He directly rushes towards the Red Blood Cave as fast as he can. He is only trying his best to catch up. It's not a big deal even if he can't. Times who? The huge octopus turns into a huge red beam of light, shuttling back and forth in the blood-red ridge. Sensing its enormous aura, the Zuyoists in the blood-red ridge all stay far away from it. Sang Imo has already arrived at the blood-red ridge. Before long, Sang Mo's blood-red eyes have already seen the Red Blood Cave in the distance. At this moment Hofei, who is leaning against the gate of the Red Blood Cave, suddenly opens his fiery eyes. A dazzling beam of light shoots out from Hofei's eyes towards Sang Mo's direction. At the same time, Hofei's entire body soars into the sky. Ga, Sang Imo, you wicked thief. For some unknown reason, Hofei's eyes blaze. The hair on his entire body stands straight up, as if he is extremely angry. The black stick in his hand gives off a murderous aura of death. Sang Imo, who has rushed back with great difficulty, is so frightened that his whole body trembles as soon as he hears Hofei's shout. Sang Imo has also heard about Hofei's power. Even when Bai-in, Chap and the others joined hands, they still collapsed in an instant. Hofei, what are you doing? Sang Imo changes into his human form and shouts while looking at Hofei in the distance. At the same time, a transmitter appears in Sang Mo's hand, which is behind his back. In just a moment, the transmitter disappears again. Sang Mo's mouth has a trace of a smile. Facing Hofei, he can't use force. He can only use soft tactics. Why are you still asking me what I am doing? You still have the face to ask me what I am doing? Hofei's entire body trembles in anger. His aura is violent and raging. When the Red Blood Cave sees the two guardians confronting each other, they naturally don't dare to intervene. Why is Guardian Hofei so angry? Is there even a need to ask? Sang Imo Protector must have offended someone. You also know that Sang Imo Protector has very bad relations with others. It seems that the 13 guardians all have allies. Except for Sang Imo Protector and Tungbai, there are no allies. Guardian Tungbai is strong and disdains him. Guardian Sang Imo, you're just a bad person. That's true. The others are intimidated by the Cave Master's prestige and don't dare to do anything to Sang Imo. However, Guardian Hofei seems to have a very bad temper. It seems that Sang Imo has met his match this time. The guards also began to talk. These guards were very familiar with each of the protectors. However, they are right. Among the 13 guardians, only Tungbai and Sang Imo are alone. Tungbai is strong, but Sang Imo is a bit strange and sinister, and has poor relations with others. Sang Imo is baffled by Hofei's question. How did I offend him? Sang Imo can't figure it out. Seeing Hofei's angry appearance, even Sang Imo himself thinks that he must have offended Hofei for some reason. However, he can't think of an answer. Could it be because of Guardian Lu Xing? That's not right. Didn't I ask Guardian Lu Xing to kill the Black Eagle in the main hall? It's not worth Guardian Hofei's reaction. Sang Imo can't figure out the reason. Extremely furious, Hofei turns his face upwards and roars madly. He shouts, Sang Imo, you bastard, listen up. From now on it's either you or me. Take this. Ho Fei brandishes his black stick. His entire body turns into a beam of light and smashes towards Sang Mo like a meteorite. Hearing "Take this," Sang Mo's entire body is shaken. Only now does he know that Ho Fei wants to kill him. Ho Fei wants to kill him. A person whom he simply can't fight against wants to kill him. Growl. Facing death, Sang Mo instantly transforms into a huge red octopus. At the same time, he lets out an extremely furious and fearful roar. The roar resounds within a radius of several hundred li, attracting the attention of a large number of Zuyoists. The black stick lengthened from an ordinary stick to a length of more than 10 meters. Boom! At the most critical moment, Sang Mo's fear of death causes him to perform better than usual. Sang Mo's 8 tentacles shake, and he flees extremely fast. However, even though he has performed better than usual, he is still far inferior to a middle Yuanying divine beast. Boom! Blood bursts out like an explosion. Broken tentacles fly in all directions. Blood stains the area within a radius of several hundred meters. Ho Fei is secretly amazed. Just now his stick unexpectedly did not kill Sang Mo facing death. Sang Mo has performed better than usual, and is much faster than before. Even though 3 of his tentacles were broken by Ho Fei's stick, his head was not hit. It should be known that just now Ho Fei was going to hit Sang Mo's head. Sang Mo, you even dare to run away. You even have the face to run away. Take this. On the surface, Ho Fei is even angrier. With a roar, he swings the black stick and attacks again. The shadow of the black stick is like a giant pillar supporting the sky. Stop! Chap, who rushed out of the cave, shouts. Hearing Chap's shouts, Ho Fei has a cruel sneer at the corner of his mouth. The speed of the black stick increases again. The speed is so fast that the undersea water does not have time to react. It is as if time has stopped and the sea water is not flowing at all. What? Looking at the huge black stick that appears in front of him almost instantaneously, Sang Mo's eyes are wide open. Boom! The seawater, which seemed to have been frozen in time, suddenly exploded. At the same time, the huge octopus corpse exploded as well. The octopus corpse shattered into countless pieces and exploded in all directions. Blood sprayed out in an area of several thousand meters. Ho Fei's figure flashes and returns to the entrance of the red blood cave. Ho Fei, why don't you stop? Chap shouts angrily. At this moment, he is still holding the transmission token in his hand. The transmission token contains the message that Sang Mo just sent to him. Chapter 125. At this moment, thousands of guards surrounded the Red Blood Cave. According to the 9 Spirits Hall's rules, members of the same faction were not allowed to kill each other. The Red Blood Cave was Shahon's headquarters. A guardian killing another guardian at the entrance of the Red Blood Cave was a big deal. Chap was also furious. He didn't think that Ho Fei would actually dare to kill Sang Mo. Speak. Why didn't you stop when you heard my order? Chap shouted again. Ho Fei didn't even look at Chap. Instead, he stared at the inside of the cave. Suddenly, Ho Fei rubbed his nose and licked his lips with his scarlet tongue. He tilted his head and looked at Chap. His fiery eyes shone with a piercing light. Say that again? Ho Fei stared into Chap's eyes and said slowly. Chap was startled and didn't say anything for a while. Ho Fei stared at Chap. His powerful aura pressed down on Chap. In just a moment, beads of sweat appeared on Chap's forehead and back. At this moment, Chap woke up with a start. Ah, who am I talking to? Didn't this monkey attack me for the 5 nights purple flower, even though he knew I was the vice cave master of the Red Blood Cave? Chap recalled the scene when he befriended Ho Fei. Chap felt a little regretful. If he wanted to deal with this monkey, he should have let his big brother do it. Chap really wasn't a match for Ho Fei. Listen up, I don't care about the rules. If someone provokes me, don't blame me for being merciless. I don't care if he's a guardian or someone else. My club won't show any mercy. Remember, as long as you don't mess with me, I won't mess with you. If you mess with me, be prepared to be turned into minced meat under my staff. Ho Fei stared at Chap and sneered. He then stood in the middle of the Red Blood Cave's entrance. Hearing Ho Fei's words and seeing the body of the octopus floating in all directions due to the explosion at the bottom of the sea, Chappa secretly gasps. At this moment, he clearly realized that Ho Fei, this monkey, was not afraid of anything. Enforcer Ho Fei, as the vice cave master, I ask you, why did you kill Sang Mo? Chap's voice softened. Ho Fei laughed strangely, turned his head and looked at Chap with a pair of fiery eyes and said, You asked me why I killed him? This marquis is too lazy to say anything. Ho Fei's arrogant appearance made the surrounding guards very surprised. Chap's face turned unsightly. This Ho Fei didn't give him any face at all. Ho Fei suddenly laughed and said, Vice Cave Master Chap, in fact, do you still need to ask this question? The answer is really too simple. He pissed me off. Do you understand? You pissed me off. If he didn't offend me, why would I kill him? Chap frowned. What kind of answer was this? Wasn't it the same as not saying anything? Chap was about to open his mouth and continue to ask how Sang Mo offended him. Ho Fei saw that Chap was about to speak, so he immediately used his holy sense to speak. Kiddo Chap, we're in public here. I'll give you face and let's be friendly. Otherwise, if you piss me off and shed all pretense of cordiality, that wouldn't be good. Hearing this, Chap swallowed back the words he was about to say. Right at this moment, Fei, along with this familiar voice, a black blur shot over extremely fast. When it stopped, everyone saw that it was Qin Yu flying over on a black flying sword. But as soon as they saw Qin Yu's current appearance, everyone was shocked. Qin Yu's abdomen had a terrible wound. Qin Yu's face was deathly pale, and his lips were purple. Big brother, what happened to you? Ho Fei was so agitated that all the hair on his body stood on end. Seeing Qin Yu's current injury, Chap sucked in a breath of cold air. After all, he was a middle-stage yuanying expert. He could tell at a glance that Qin Yu's injury was caused by someone directly piercing his abdomen with a sharp weapon. Qin Yu was really lucky to be able to come back alive with such an injury. Big brother, who did this to you? Ho Fei became nervous and directly supported Qin Yu. At this moment, Qin Yu was really lucky to be able to fly back on his flying sword. Ho Fei's eyes flashed with a fierce light. Big brother, who did it? No matter who hurt you, I will kill him. Ho Fei's violent aura burst out. Fei, forget it. Qin Yu tried to squeeze out a smile and said, Guardian Lu Xing, who is the murderer? Go ahead and say it. My Blood-Red Cave definitely won't let anyone who dares to provoke a guardian of the Blood-Red Cave go unpunished. At this moment, Chappa also stands up, but in his heart, he remembers Sang Mo's message. Qin Yu endured the pain and said, Deputy Cave Master, this time we were ordered by the Cave Master to kill that Black Eagle. However, no one had imagined that Protector Bai Yin and Protector Ran Lan would actually collude with the Black Hawk and attack us instead. At that time, Protector Musu was directly launched a surprise attack by Protector Bai Yin and died miserably on the spot. Hearing Qin Yu's words, Chap raised his eyebrows. Guardian Lu Xing, you alone and Guardian Yezhong defeated Bai Yin, the Ran Ran and the Black Eagle? Chap asked. Qin Yu shook his head and said, Fortunately, Guardian Yezhong was vigilant. When Guardian Musu was killed, Guardian Yezhong directly attacked the Ran Ran, while I attacked Bai Yin. Fortunately, when I left Master, he left me a precious Thunder Talisman, which can be used when my life is in danger. I directly used the Thunder Talisman to kill Guardian Bai Yin. My injury was caused by the Black Eagle, but I also have a unique skill. That Black Eagle was also injured, and probably didn't want to fight me to the death. The yuanying of Guardian Bai Yin and Guardian Musu was taken away by the Black Eagle, and Guardian Yezhong took the yuanying of Guardian Ran Ran. Subordinate speed is fast, so I came back to inform Cave Master. With that, a sparkling purple yuanying appeared in the palm of Qin Yu's hand. Vice Cave Master, please take this yuanying on behalf of Cave Master. Subordinate is in urgent need of treatment. Qin Yu's face became even paler. When Chap heard Qin Yu's words and saw the yuanying in front of him, he thought of Sang Mo's message, and then looked at Qin Yu's terrifying injury. For a moment his heart was in a mess. Big brother, don't talk. Quickly go back and treat your injury. Ho Fei didn't allow Qin Yu to say anything more, and directly rushed back to their residence with Qin Yu. However, Chap didn't take away Musu's yuanying, but left the yuanying in front of Chap. Chap clenched his teeth and directly put away the yuanying and directly entered the cave residence. After a while, Enforcer Yezhong also rushed back with some minor injuries and directly entered his own residence in the Red Blood Cave. Outside Shahon's closed-door secret room, Chap stood outside the secret room with a face full of anxiety and shouted, "Big brother, quickly come out. Something big has happened. Don't go into closed-door cultivation. Quickly come out." Chap couldn't wait, and when he thought of everything that had happened, he became agitated. After a while, the door to the secret room opened. "What's the hurry? These few days, I can't even go into closed-door cultivation in peace. Quickly tell me, what's the matter? I don't have time to waste with you," Shahon shouted coldly. At this moment, Cha Hong had reached the final moment of removing the seal. Chap said angrily, "I don't have time to waste. Big brother, do you know what has happened? Enforcer Bayin is dead. Musu is dead. Ran Ran is dead. And besides these 3 enforcers, even Sang Emo Protector was killed." Shahon's face stiffened. Shahon's expression changed several times. And then he calmed down and said indifferently, "Tell me what happened." Seeing his big brother so calm, Chap was also affected and calmed down a little. He immediately said, "This matter is a bit messy, so I'll give you a brief account. Bayin and the other 2 enforcers are dead. According to Enforcer Lu Xing, Bayin and Ran Ran colluded with the Black Hawk to kill Lu Xing, Yezhong, and Musu. Enforcer Lu Xing relied on the Thunder Talisman, left behind by his master to kill Bayin, and then fought the Black Hawk to a standstill, frightening it away." Lu Xing's master? Thunder Talisman? Shahon frowned. When he had seen Qin Yu's strange training method, he had asked Qin Yu about his master, but Qin Yu hadn't said anything. However, Sang Emo Protector transmitted to me, saying that Enforcer Lu Xing was that immortal practitioner. Chap paused for a moment, then continued. And then, for some reason, Enforcer Ho Fei went crazy and killed Sang Emo Protector. Chap looked at his big brother, waiting for his big brother's reaction. Shahon's eyes narrowed slightly, and a cold light leaked out from them. "Continue." Shahon regained his composure. Chap continued. But just now when Enforcer Lu Xing returned, he was heavily injured and very seriously at that. His abdomen was directly torn apart and pierced through. If that attack had been just a bit heavier, most likely Enforcer Lu Xing would have died on the spot. Even so, Enforcer Lu Xing won't be able to recover for at least a year. "Big brother, I originally suspected that Enforcer Lu Xing had injured himself, but his injuries were too serious. But the injuries were too horrifying. If he wasn't careful, he could have committed suicide. I don't think many people would dare to injure themselves in such a way. What's more, he even offered up Musu's yuanying, but Sang Emo Protector's message before his death." Chap said with a frown. Shahon stared at Chap and barked, "Second bro, listen up. Don't spread this matter. You must keep your mouth shut. At the same time, don't worry about this matter. Leave it all to me. Immediately summon all the enforcers to the main hall." "Yes." Chap nodded, then turned and left. Shahon muttered to himself, "Master, the Thunder Talisman? I don't know if it's real or not. That Enforcer Lu Xing was 90% likely an immortal practitioner. Of course immortal practitioners don't need yuanying. Alas time. What I need most right now is time. If this matter were to happen in a year, then I would be able to act boldly and decisively." In the main hall, the remaining 11 enforcers were gathered. This matter was serious. For enforcers, Bayin Ran Ran, Musu and Sang Emo had died. Moreover, Sang Emo Protector was openly killed by Ho Fei in the Red Blood Cave. The 3 Black Tortoise brothers, the Tiger Shark brothers, the 2 Snake women, the Horned Dragon Tung Bai, Yezhong, Qin Yu and Ho Fei were standing in the main hall. Chap had also arrived. Everyone was waiting for the cave master of the Red Blood Cave, Shahon. After a short while, Shahon walked up to the throne. With a wave of his robe he sat down. Shahon swept the enforcers with his gaze, then said solemnly, "Everybody, this time our Red Blood Cave has suffered an unprecedented disaster in the last 100 years. Bayin and the other 3 enforcers were unexpectedly killed. Sang Emo Protector, was even killed by Enforcer Ho Fei at the entrance of our Red Blood Cave. Ho Fei! Shahon suddenly shouts. Ho Fei took a step forward and raised his head to look at Shahon. There is a faint evil smile on the corners of his mouth. The 9 Spirits Hall set a rule. The Red Blood Cave and the other 7 caves also insisted on following this rule. People of the same power absolutely can't kill each other. But you, an enforcer of our Red Blood Cave, unexpectedly killed Sang Mo openly in front of a large number of Zeoists. What do you think of the Red Blood Cave? What do you think of the 9 Spirits Hall? What do you think of me, Shahon? Shahon shouts furiously. A terrifying aura bursts out from the furious Shahon. In the blink of an eye, a terrifyingly powerful aura covers the entire main hall, as if the end of the world has come. It completely presses down on Ho Fei and completely suppresses Ho Fei. Shahon hasn't fought for many years, so many people are doubting Shahon's power. However, the enforcers below no longer have the slightest bit of doubt when their aura bursts out. Ho Fei licks his lips with his scarlet tongue. He unexpectedly raises his head even higher and glares at Shahon. His eyes, however, burst out with an astonishing fighting spirit. He has never looked forward to a fight so much. To fight against a super expert. Fei, are you sure you can win? Qin Yu says through Holy Sense communication. Ho Fei is still staring at Shahon. At the same time, he says through Holy Sense communication. If I don't enter the Berserk state, I'm not sure at all. If I enter the Berserk state, I'm 50% sure. This Shahon is very strong, very strong. But I like it. The light in Ho Fei's eyes becomes even more blazing, and his fighting spirit becomes even more berserk. Chapter 126. At this moment, the atmosphere in the main hall is very oppressive. Ho Fei and Shahon are facing each other with equal harshness. It seems that they may fight at any moment. Shahon is secretly shocked. This monkey is actually so strong. He should be able to compete with an expert at the early stage of Dongshu. But if he really faces me, he won't have any hope at all. Shahon is full of confidence in his heart. Cave Master, I am here to be a protector, not to be bullied. Sang Mo provokes me. That's the same as courting death. If he doesn't provoke me, why would I kill him? Ho Fei's voice resounds through the main hall. He provokes you? Shahon ponders for a moment. Protector Ho Fei. There are indeed some problems with this rule. If he bullies you, provokes you. If you are intimidated by this rule and don't deal with him, you will indeed be bullied. As soon as these words come out, the atmosphere in the main hall is no longer as intense as before. Hearing Shahon say so, Qin Yu's heart is slightly relieved. Well, let's put this matter aside for the time being. After this, I will investigate it carefully. After Shahon finishes speaking, he looks at Qin Yu and says, Protector Lu Xing Baiyin, Ran Ran and Musu, the 3 protectors are dead. You actually said that Baiyin and the others colluded with the Black Eagles? Cough, it is indeed so, Cave Master. Qin Yu's face is pale, but he still says. Shahon uses his spiritual sense to scan Qin Yu's injuries and is secretly shocked. When he heard from Chap, Shahon already thought that Qin Yu's injuries are very serious. Who would have thought that today Qin Yu's injuries would be even more serious? Shahon even doubts that Qin Yu can still stand with such serious injuries. Qin Yu, however, felt helpless in his heart. Tears of Lu Xing, tears of Lu Xing. Your recovery ability is too strong. Just by resting in the courtyard for a period of time, you have recovered a lot. You force me to harm myself again. Qin Yu's injury was of course caused by self-harm. With Lu Xing's tears, Qin Yu's injuries were indeed terrible. However, the recovery ability of Lu Xing's tears was too strong. When he came back and rested in the courtyard, he recovered more than half of his tears. Qin Yu tore his wound again. Guardian Lu Xing's injuries are indeed serious. It's not that I don't trust Guardian Lu Xing, but Guardian Baiyin and the others have been in the Red Blood Cave for many years, and they have never betrayed us. This time, I really can't believe it. Shahon said earnestly. How about this, Guardian Lu Xing? You explain the battle process again. Qin Yu panted slightly and said, Cave Master, at that time, I and Guardian Baiyin were chasing the Black Eagle. When we encountered the Black Eagle, We began to chase it according to plan. However, without any warning, Bain attacked Guardian Musu. Hearing this, the people present couldn't help but feel their hearts skip a beat. Bain, who was in the middle stage of yuanying, attacked Musu, who was defenseless. The result was obvious. Guardian Musu was killed on the spot. Guardian Yezhong was very vigilant. When he saw this scene, he found that the Ran Guardian was also attacking him. Guardian Yezhong immediately fought with the Ran Guardian, and finally killed the Ran Guardian. Then, I directly attacked Guardian Bain, and used the Thunder Talisman, bestowed by Master to kill Bain. Qin Yu didn't even blink when bragging. This Thunder Talisman was not an ordinary talisman. Talismans were also divided into different grades. This Thunder Talisman could only be made by a talisman master, who had extremely high skills. Thunder Talisman. Tung Bai, who had been closing his eyes, suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were full of shock. Qin Yu laughed in his heart. He didn't have this Thunder Talisman. He had only read about the creation and power of the Thunder Talisman from those cultivation books. However, such a powerful talisman was extremely difficult to create, and the materials were also extremely rare. Guardian Lu Xing's master is indeed very powerful. Shahon sighed in admiration and said, Guardian Qin Yu must have fought with that black eagle. Even though he was heavily injured, he still managed to repel that black eagle. Qin Yu nodded. From the beginning to the end, Guardian Yezhong didn't say a word, but his expression was somewhat ugly. All the other guardians knew that Protector Zhuangzhong was a nice guy. He treated every single one of them very well, and had a very good relationship with them. Guardian Yezhong, was the process as Guardian Lu Xing said? Shahon looked at Yezhong and asked. Qin Yu and the others also looked at Yezhong. They couldn't be sure based on Qin Yu's one-sided statement. Yezhong's words were also very important. Yezhong sighed. Sigh, Cave Master, subordinate's heart is very uncomfortable. Everyone present was guessing in their hearts. If Yezhong refuted Qin Yu's words, what kind of scene would that be? Everyone knows that Bain, Ran, Musu and subordinate's relationship is very good. Yezhong didn't answer the question. The other guardians also nodded. Everyone knew about Bain, and the other three. Yezhong continued. Although Bain is a bit hypocritical, he treats us quite well. Although Ran is vicious, they still have a bit of loyalty. The other guardians cursed in their hearts. Loyalty? Who didn't know about Ran's viciousness and deceit? That Bain was even better at flattering, and was extremely hypocritical. When Qin Yu said that Bain and Ran were in cahoots with Black Hawk, there were guardians in the main hall who immediately believed him. However, I never thought that the two of them would actually collude with Black Hawk to kill me, Musu, and Guardian Lu Xing. Subordinate thought that if they weren't after our Jin Dan yuanying, then they were after Guardian Lu Xing's high-grade spirit weapon. Yezhong sighed. I didn't expect that they would be greedy to this extent. They didn't even tell me from beginning to end. The three Black Tortoise brothers, the two Snake girls, and the others secretly laughed. Tell an honest person like you? At the same time, these guardians looked at Qin Yu in surprise. They didn't think that Qin Yu would actually have a high-grade spirit weapon. Although Qin Yu once used a black flying sword to fight with Sang Mo, it was still very difficult to judge a flying sword by its appearance. Shahon also sighed. Guardian Yezhong, don't be sad. It's not worth it to be sad with them. Well, at this point the matter is more or less clear. That Bain and Ran coveted the other guardians' yuanying, Jin Dan and spirit weapons. They colluded with Black Hawk, and wanted to do it secretly. Even death can't wipe out their crimes. Chap. Give Musu's yuanying to Guardian Lu Xing. Guardian Lu Xing was seriously injured, so after refining this yuanying, his power will probably increase a bit as compensation. Hearing Shahon's words, Chap reached out with one hand. Musu's yuanying appeared in his hand. The other guardians, however, didn't care. There were not many Zuyoists who devoured yuanying. Firstly, other Zuyoists' yuanying energy was different from their own. So if they absorbed other Zuyoists' energy, the energy in their bodies would be very impure, and would be harmful to their own future. But if they really refined and absorbed it, they would only be able to absorb 1/10 of it. The other guardians were generally at the early stage of yuanying, so even if they only absorbed the essence of yuanying of the same level, their power would only increase by 1/10, so they didn't care too much about it. Guardian Lu Xing, please accept it. This is my big brother's kindness. Chap handed over the yuanying, but he was doubtful in his heart. Humph. I'd like to see if you dare to refine yuanying or not. It's said that Xiaxianists can't refine yuanying. After a while, I'll see if you can refine yuanying or not. Everything will be revealed then. Thank you, Cave Master. Qin Yu directly received Mu Su's yuanying. In a secret chamber of the Red Blood Cave, Shahon and Chap were present. Big brother, why didn't you let that guardian Lu Xing refine yuanying in the main hall, so that we could see it for ourselves? Humph, if he doesn't dare to refine yuanying, or if he loses his mind after refining it, it means he's that Xiaxianist. Chap had always been suspicious of Qin Yu's identity. Shahon smiled indifferently. At this moment, he didn't want to fall out with Qin Yu. This was because the Black Jade box could be broken in the next few months. No matter what happened, it was not on the same level as the Black Jade box. Second brother, listen to me. In the next 6 months, you can't provoke Ho Fei and the others. You have to pretend to trust them, and be friendly to them. No matter what happens, wait for 6 months. In the next 6 months, what I need is the stability of the Red Blood Cave. Shahon said seriously. Chap heard his big brother's serious words, and immediately nodded. Well, second brother, you can leave now. Don't disturb me during this period. I want to continue my cultivation in one go. Shahon said with a smile. Chap's eyes lit up and he said, Big brother, are you going to make a breakthrough in the next 6 months? Chap didn't know about the Black Jade box at all. When he heard Shahon say that no accidents should happen in the next 6 months, he thought that his big brother was going to make a breakthrough in the next 6 months. Shahon smiled and nodded. He was indeed going to make a breakthrough in his power. However, it was not going to happen in half a year, but in 2 or 3 years. Although he was constantly consuming his power to drain the energy of the Black Jade box's dust-removing restriction spell, he was also constantly absorbing the Reiki of heaven and earth to cultivate. His yuanying was also slowly increasing. In the past 100 years, Shahon had already reached the peak of the early Dongshu stage. In less than half a day, Qin Yu's injuries were completely healed. Fei, I'm going to do closed-door training during this period of time. Don't let anyone disturb me unless something big happens. Qin Yu told Ho Fei. Ho Fei said with a smile, Don't worry. Big brother, this time we have the yuanying of Baiyin, Ran Ran, Mu Su and Sang Mo. However, I've already reached the middle stage of yuanying. Refining and absorbing it is useless. As for Xiaohei, it's not very useful either. I can only give it to you, big brother. A smile appeared on Qin Yu's face. Why are you in such a hurry to refine it? Of the 4 great yuanying, I only need Baiyin's yuanying. It's enough for me. As for the other yuanying, I'll leave it for the time being. Refining yuanying wasn't about more yuanying. It was enough as long as one's power reached a certain level. What Qin Yu wanted the most now was to reach the 2nd stage of the stellar transformations, the Lu Xing stage. Okay, big brother. I'll stand guard outside for you. I won't let anyone disturb you. Ho Fei walked out with a grin. Qin Yu went straight to his bedroom and sat cross-legged on the bed. He recalled the contents of the stellar transformations in his mind. The stellar transformations was divided into the nebula, Lu Xing, star core, planet, tribulation and star stages. Among them, the nebula stage was used to consolidate one's foundation. It wasn't very strong in terms of attack. However, once one reached the Lu Xing stage, their attack power began to increase by leaps and bounds. In the past, when he was at the middle stage of the tribulation stage, Lei Wei alone killed a Desheng stage cultivator, several loose immortals and dozens of tribulation and Kongming stage Xiaxianists. Afterwards, Lei Wei went through the 9th heaven tribulation. He went through 8 heavenly tribulations before failing the last tribulation. His strength had reached a terrifying level. He was definitely a humanoid divine beast, or even stronger. However, the current Qin Yu wasn't too powerful. This was because he had only reached the nebulous stage, which was used to consolidate his foundation. Lu Xing stage, fusing thousands of silver stars and refining a bit of golden essence into the core of the body. Lu Xing, Qin Yu had a smile on his face. The difference between the early stage of Lu Xing and the late stage of the nebulous stage was really too big. Lu Xing focused on speed, condensation, and instantaneous eruption. His current star energy was only the most ordinary star energy. However, once he reached the Lu Xing stage, thousands of silver stars refined a bit of golden essence, the Lu Xing. The golden energy that burst out from Lu Xing was as thin as a ray of light. Thin at the same time, it represented the condensation of energy. His attack power was completely concentrated into one point. The power was ridiculously strong. At the same time, the golden star energy fused into his body. Qin Yu's speed was at least 10 times faster than it was now, or even more. Normally, a nebulous stage practitioner of the stellar transformations should hide in a place and practice slowly. Only in the Lu Xing stage can he travel everywhere and fight other Zayashinists. As soon as Qin Yu remembers the description of the Lu Xing stage and the later stages in the stellar transformations, he feels his blood boiling. Now he is weaker than Xiao He and Hou Fei. But if he reaches the early stage of Lu Xing, it will be different. Alright, let's start practicing. Qin Yu sits down with legs crossed and eyes closed. However, at this moment, an explosion comes out from the red blood cave. Afterwards, there is a panic. Various Zuyoists are running in all directions. Guardian Hou Fei, Vice Master, was killed by a mysterious man. That mysterious man has disappeared. Quickly go and catch the murderer. A guard runs up to Hou Fei's side and says respectfully. Hou Fei's face changes color and he shouts, "You go out first." Hou Fei immediately runs into Qin Yu's room. At the same time, Qin Yu has also walked out of the room. He also heard the guard's words clearly. "Big brother." Hou Fei looks at Qin Yu. Qin Yu feels that something is wrong. Chap was Vice Master, but he was unexpectedly killed at this time. But now that Qin Yu's abdominal injury has completely healed, he must not let other people find out. Fei, don't worry about this. If someone comes, tell them that I'm doing closed-door training and can't be disturbed. I feel that the current situation is a bit chaotic. I have to improve my power as soon as possible. Qin Yu immediately says to Hou Fei. Hou Fei nods, then immediately sits down in Qin Yu's courtyard, so that nobody can disturb Qin Yu. Qin Yu disregards everything and enters his room directly. At this critical moment, the most important thing for him is to improve his power. Now that he has reached Lu Xing's level, Qin Yu does not need to be so restrained. At the same time, an extremely deep and furious voice resounds in the red blood cave. 5,000 guards and 11 guardians, listen up. From now on, keep a close watch on everywhere. No one is allowed to enter or leave the red blood cave. Violators will be killed without mercy. All the guardians and guards become much more cautious at once. Even the look in their eyes becomes even fiercer. Chapter 127. In the red blood cave, numerous squads of guards are patrolling everywhere. Even those beautiful maids are walking very carefully in the corridors. They don't dare to flirt with the guards like they did in the past. The atmosphere in the entire red blood cave is very oppressive. The 2 Yin sisters, the 3 Black Tortoise brothers, the 2 Tigus Hark brothers, Tung Bai, Qin Yu, Hou Fei and Yazhong are all in their own residences. None of them is strolling outside. Time passes one day after another under such high vigilance and oppression. In the main hall of the 9 Spirits Hall, there is a throne at the top of the hall. Below it, there are 4 thrones on the left and right. At the moment, there are 8 men dressed in purple brocade robes sitting on the thrones. Only the second seat on the left of the hall is empty. The man at the very top has thick eyebrows and big eyes. His body naturally emits a domineering aura. At the moment, the purple-robed man is carefully examining a 3-inch long jade sword in his hand. He looks it up and down several times and says, "This is the 6th of the legendary 9 swords. It really is a good sword. A good sword." The purple-robed man constantly exclaims in admiration. His eyes flash with light. The first purple-robed man on the right of the hall says discontentedly, Big brother, what's there to look at? Isn't it just a top-grade holy weapon? A top-grade holy weapon is indeed a bit precious, but it shouldn't be worth it. Apart from that special function, what's so good about this jade sword itself? What do you know? The purple-robed man says with a laugh. The 9 brothers of the 9 spirits hall are purple demon aquatic dragons. Although they are not divine beasts, they are very close. A purple demon aquatic dragon can defeat 5 or 6 Zyxianists of the same level. When these 9 purple demon aquatic dragons join forces, they become one of the 3 major powers at the bottom of the sea. The purple-robed man is the leader of the 9 brothers, D-Long. D-Long looks at the jade sword with shining eyes. Brothers, you all know about its special function. However, this jade sword itself is also extraordinary. Let me tell you, the material used to forge this jade sword is nothing more than a piece of frigid jasper. How is that possible? The 7 brothers below are all shocked. The frigid ice jasper was just a material for refining a middle-grade spirit weapon. It was impossible to refine a high-grade spirit weapon, let alone a supreme-grade spirit weapon. A faint smile appears on the corners of D-Long's mouth. Don't doubt me. This jade sword is only the key to opening the immortal mansion. The strength of the immortal who refined this jade sword is not something you can imagine. He already has the ability to turn something rotten into something magical. Using middle-grade holy materials to forge top-grade holy weapons also reflects the immortal's power. What's in the immortal mansion of such an immortal? The key is 9 top-grade holy weapons. What's hidden inside? D-Long's eyes glitter. The other 7 brothers also seem to think of the treasures in the immortal abode, and their eyes lit up. D-Su, the 3rd brother, says, Big brother, according to our information, 7 of the 9 jade swords have already been produced. The Zyxianists of the Punglai immortal region have obtained one. The devil Xiamoists from the Purple Flame Devilish Dungeon were lucky enough to obtain 2. That Azure Dragon from the Blue Dragon Temple has one. We have one. That 3-eyed freak from the Blue River Province has also obtained one. It seems that Azure Dragon and 3-eyed freak are fighting over the 7th jade sword. The underwater Zuyoists are very powerful, so the number of jade swords they have obtained is also a reflection of their strength. The eldest brother D-Long slightly nods and says with a smile, There are quite a few Zyxianist schools in the Punglai immortal region. They only have one jade sword, so perhaps their internal affairs will be in chaos for a while. As for the 7th jade sword that has just appeared, we won't get involved. We'd better let Azure Dragon and 3-eyed freak slowly fight it out. Azure Dragon from the Blue Dragon Temple and 3 blue-eyed toad from the Blue River Province. These 2 divine beasts are very powerful. The 9th Spirits Hall has to turn out in full strength to fight them. Big brother, only 7 jade swords have been produced so far. Where are the remaining 2? The 9th brother D-Nai asks. D-Long says confidently, Nobody knows where the 9th jade sword is for the moment, but I know where the 8th jade sword is. This time 8th brother has come out in person, just for this 8th jade sword. If I'm not mistaken, he'll definitely be able to capture it. The 3rd brother D-Su says smilingly, 9th brother, I also know about this matter. Big brother told me to dispatch people to collect information from all sides, and to search for jade swords at the same time. I only learned about the 8th jade sword by chance. Searching for jade swords. The search is not only limited to the 9 Spirits Hall. The 5 superpowers of the Punglai immortal region, the Purple Flame Devilish Dungeon, the Blue Dragon Temple, the 9 Spirits Hall, and the Blue River Province have all dispatched their experts to search everywhere. Not only are they searching on islands and under the sea, they are also searching on the Qianlong continent. It's just that those Zuyoists, Zyxianists and Xiamoists only entered the Qianlong continent to search for jade swords, and did not participate in the internal affairs of the Qianlong continent. Otherwise, the 3 dynasties on the Qianlong continent would not have been so stable. The more jade swords there are, the better. The more jade swords there are, the more authority the 5 superpowers will have when they open the immortal mansion, and the more treasures they'll get. We're determined to get the 8th jade sword. Now we have to do everything we can to find out where the 9th jade sword is. D-Long stands up and glances at the other brothers below, saying, Brothers, now let's do everything we can to find information about the ninth jade sword. Yes, big brother. The 7 purple-robed men also stand up and respond at the same time. It has been 3 months now. The Red Blood Cave is still peaceful. At the moment in the secret room, Shahon is sitting with legs crossed. The black jade case is floating in front of him. The black jade case is continuously emitting various rays of light. A huge amount of demonic elemental energy is continuously consuming the energy of the dust-removing restrictive spell on the black jade case. By now, Shahon's mood is also surging. Shahon withdraws his hands and stops pouring demonic elemental energy into the case. Beads of sweat have appeared on his forehead. Phew! Shahon's eyelashes are covered with sweat. It has been 100 years since he obtained the black jade case. By now, Shahon is already certain that the black jade case will be broken open very soon. At that time, he will be able to obtain the treasures inside, and his ambitions will have a bit of a foundation. The Immortal Cultivator's Punglai Immortal Region, the Demonic Cultivator's Purple Flame Devilish Dungeon, the Seabed Blue Dragon Temple, the Nine Spirits Hall, and the Blue River Province. These 5 powers are definitely the 5 most powerful powers of the overseas Zyationists. The Red Blood Cave is only one of the 8 caves under the command of the Nine Spirits Hall. Compared to these 5 Leviathans, it is simply not on the same level. This is why Shahon has always been very low-key and cautious. After obtaining the black jade case, he has become even more low-key. I, Shahon, have waited for 100 years. This damned restrictive spell is finally going to be broken. Alas, the immortal who set up this restrictive spell is really something. Isn't it just a dust-removing restrictive spell? He actually used so much energy. Shahon sighs with a smile. At this moment, Shahon is in a good mood. However, as soon as he thinks about the sudden death of his second brother, Chap, Shahon has a hint of a bad feeling. I hope that nothing unexpected happens at this final juncture. But, no matter who it is, I absolutely won't allow anyone to steal my treasures. Shahon's eyes flash with a cold light. Soon after, he rests for a while to recover his demonic elemental energy, and once again starts to consume the energy of the dust-removing restrictive spell. Red Blood Cave, Eastern District, Qinyu's courtyard house. Ho Fei is sitting cross-legged in the courtyard house with his eyes closed. A black stick is inserted into the ground beside him. Ho Fei has been training like this for 3 whole months. However, Ho Fei is not training wholeheartedly. He has already left his spiritual sense to check the surroundings. No matter who it is, they are absolutely not allowed to disturb Qinyu's training. In the room where Qinyu is training under the protection of Ho Fei, Qinyu's entire body is emitting misty starlight. The power of the stars has formed a huge nebula that envelopes Qinyu. Qinyu is sitting cross-legged on top of the bed. At this moment, Qinyu is sitting in the void. Suddenly, the nebula spins faster and faster. At the same time, the sun above the ocean actually shoots out a blazing energy that passes through the seawater and into the depths of the sea. It directly shoots towards the room where Qinyu is in the Red Blood Cave. That blazing energy directly blends into the nebula. Immediately, the nebula turns into a golden color. Qinyu is completely enveloped by the golden light. Subtle sounds come from all over Qinyu's body. Qinyu's forehead is full of big beads of sweat. The severe pain even makes Qinyu convulse. However, he still bears with it because this is the most critical moment. Inside Qinyu's body, the density of the silvery stars in his dantian is unexpectedly twice as high as before. Countless stars are rapidly rotating. At the same time, various streams of blazing energy are entering his body from outside. All of Qinyu's bones and muscles are undergoing drastic changes. His bones, muscles, and even every cell of Qinyu are undergoing drastic changes. The toughness of his body is increasing again and again. Hot, as if being roasted by fire. The star fire in Qinyu's body is also burning. Countless silver stars in the universe of his dantian begin to spin rapidly. Different from before, countless stars are forming circles and gathering towards the center. Chi, the star fire, with the help of the primordial sun fire, is very powerful. Those silver stars are constantly being refined and refined. They spin faster and faster. As time goes by, the silver stars spin faster and faster. Furthermore, the silver stars are gathering towards the center from the inside out. Naturally, there are more silver stars in the outer circle. The further it goes, the more silver stars are gathering towards the center. In the entire vast space of the Dantian, all the silver stars are gathering towards the center like crazy. The enormous and purest grand sun primordial fire, while assisting the stellar primordial fire, also continuously tempered his body. At the same time, streams of clear water flow out from Lu Xing's tear and spread to every part of Qin Yu's body. This also allows Qin Yu's body to recover quickly. However, just as soon as he recovers, he will be refined and destroyed by the fire again. Lu Xing's tear and the fire repair damage again and again, which increases the toughness of Qin Yu's body rapidly. Lei Wei created the cultivation method with the help of the primordial sun fire. However, he can only rely on his body's natural recovery. He can't catch up with the recovery speed of Lu Xing's tear. The faster the recovery, the more tempering. Outside the house, Hou Fei suddenly opened his eyes. He quickly stood up and stared at Qin Yu's house. At this moment, Hou Fei is also very shocked by the powerful energy waves. Guardian Hou Fei, what happened? Guardian Yezhong ran over and asked. He also felt the energy waves here. At the same time, the two snake girls also ran over. They were also shocked by the huge amount of energy here. Even if it's cultivation, the energy can't be so huge. Get out! Hou Fei suddenly opened his eyes and roared. His expression was frighteningly violent. The ferocious look in his eyes made Yezhong and the Yin sisters tremble. They didn't dare to say anything. They knew that Hou Fei killed Sang Yimo at the entrance of the Red Blood Cave. Hou Fei turned around and looked into the house. Why did that pure firepower just now fall from the sky? Hou Fei was also a little puzzled. In fact, there are restrictions around Qin Yu's house. Even if the energy is released, it shouldn't alarm the other guardians. However, the firepower just now broke the restrictions easily. This is why Qin Yu's surging energy attracted the other guardians' attention at the most important moment. One by one, the guardians began to gather. Hey Beauty Yen, what happened inside? Guardian Wu Tong, one of the Tiger Shark brothers, asked Yen Qing. When Wu Tong saw Hou Fei guarding outside the house, he didn't dare to barge in. Everyone knows how unruly Hou Fei is. Yen Qing shook her head and said, I don't know. It should be Guardian Lu Xing who is cultivating. Cultivating? Why didn't he set up restrictions? We can feel the energy waves. Doesn't he know that the Red Blood Cave is in an extremely tense state right now? Ba Ming, one of the three Black Turtle brothers, frowned and wondered. Just as these guardians were talking to each other, the energy in the house suddenly converged. Inside the house, a faint smile appeared on the face of Qin Yu, who was sitting cross-legged and floating in midair. Qin Yu opened his eyes, opened his mouth slightly and inhaled. The remaining one-third of the yuanying that hadn't been refined was directly swallowed by Qin Yu. The nebula also disappeared in an instant. In Qin Yu's dantian, in the center of his dantian was a ball of cyan stellar flame. Inside the stellar flame was a dazzling golden brilliance. If one looked carefully, one would find that it was a very small golden grain. This was the so-called Lu Xing. This Lu Xing light spot was constantly being burned by the stellar flame. Around this golden light spot, there were sparse silver stars. Although they were much sparser than before, the area that occupied the limitless space in his dantian was much larger. That yuanying was swallowed by Qin Yu. With a series of crackling sounds, under the burning of the stellar flame, that one-third of the yuanying was completely refined. Those silver stars spun rapidly, and the silver stars grew slightly larger. Thousands upon thousands of stars. With the help of the primordial flame of the sun, I've finally refined a golden star. The power of the primordial flame of the sun is indeed ridiculously great. The remaining one-third of the yuanying was completely refined in a breath's time. Qin Yu sighed in his heart. Suddenly, a hint of a smile appeared at the corners of Qin Yu's mouth. Let's feel how much my speed has increased. Suddenly, a golden ray of light shot out from the Lu Xing in his dantian, instantly merging into the meridians of his entire body. Swish! Qin Yu's entire body was like a golden ray of light, disappearing from the house in a flash. His speed was more than 10 times faster than before, reaching an astonishing level. Outside the house, Hou Fei blinked his fiery eyes in disbelief. He suddenly felt that Qin Yu's aura had disappeared from the house. Fei. Qin Yu suddenly appeared in front of Hou Fei, smiling as he looked at the astonished Hou Fei. Chapter 128. Seeing Qin Yu appear in front of him, Hou Fei's fiery eyes suddenly shone brightly. They actually emitted 2 visible rays of light that covered Qin Yu. In just a moment, Hou Fei's face became even more shocked. Big brother, did you eat some kind of elixir? Hou Fei looked at Qin Yu and asked. At this moment, Hou Fei's heart was filled with curiosity. It was impossible for a person to improve so much in such a short time. Hou Fei even felt that the current Qin Yu could even compete with him. At least he was a threat to Hou Fei. What are you looking at? Scram. Hou Fei turned around and shouted at the protectors. Among them, Protector Yezhong smiled at Qin Yu and said, "Congratulations, Protector Lu Xing. It seems like Protector Lu Xing has received the Cave Master's gift of yuanying from Musu. After absorbing that yuanying, his strength has greatly increased. Could it be that he has reached the middle stage of yuanying?" Yanqing frowned and said, "It can't be. Musu is only at the early stage of yuanying. How much strength would he gain after absorbing it? Could it be that Protector Lu Xing was already at the peak of the early stage of yuanying? Why do I feel that Protector Lu Xing's strength isn't that strong?" Qin Yu smiled. After reaching the Lu Xing realm, Qin Yu's strength was more restrained than before. Just now, Qin Yu had reached the Lu Xing realm, so his strength had erupted. At this moment, most of the energy in Qin Yu's body was gathered in the core of his dantian, in the light spot of Lu Xing. Moreover, when he used the Devil Dao secret skill Dark North, he didn't release any aura. It was even more difficult for others to detect Qin Yu's strength. "Protectors, your martial arts are not much weaker than mine. My brother Fei's martial arts have long surpassed mine. As his big brother, I naturally have to work hard. Protectors, Fei and I still have some matters to discuss. Protectors, please return for the time being." Qin Yu did not reveal what realm he had reached. Mysterious. This was what Qin Yu needed. Yanqing and Shi Yan bowed slightly to Qin Yu and said, "We sisters will take our leave first. Protector Lu Xing, would you like to come and play with us in the future?" The 2 seductive sisters gave Qin Yu a coquettish glance and left. Congratulations to Protector Lu Xing for making great progress. We 3 brothers will also take our leave. The 3 black tortoise brothers also left with smiles on their faces. One by one, the protectors left one after another. Their attitude towards Qin Yu was very good. In the past, because of his relationship with Hou Fei, those protectors had treated Qin Yu quite well. However, a person's own strength was the most important. The stronger one was, the more respect others would have. Last time, according to Qin Yu's words, Qin Yu had risked his life to severely injure the Black Eagle. This also showed that his attack power was close to the middle stage of yuanying. Now that his cultivation had improved again, those protectors were very clear about Qin Yu's strength. In fact, at this moment, Qin Yu's strength was even greater than they had imagined. Horned Dragon Tung Bai's eyes shone as he looked at Qin Yu. He exclaimed, "Originally, I thought that apart from Cave Master, only Protector Hou Fei could fight with me. Now it seems that Protector Lu Xing, who has made great progress in his martial arts, is already capable of fighting with me." Tung Bai spoke very straightforwardly. Qin Yu responded with a smile. "Protector Lu Xing, I will also take my leave. I will definitely fight with you in the future." Tung Bai immediately took his leave and left. At this moment, there were only 2 people in the courtyard, Qin Yu and Hou Fei. Hou Fei casually set up a restrictive spell, then looked at Qin Yu and said, "Big brother, tell me honestly, how did you train? My fiery-eyed water ape clan has always been tempered by fire and water, and attaches great importance to the body. Therefore my body is extremely tough. However, when I used my fiery eyes just now, the toughness of your body is actually close to mine." Hou Fei, a middle-stage yuanying divine beast, and Qinyu, a early-stage Luxing divine beast, were close to each other in terms of toughness of their bodies. This is the reason why I train in my mental cultivation method. This method of mine is called the stellar transformations. Tempering the body is the foundation of training. The stronger the body, the faster the training will be. This time, when I broke through to the Luxing stage, because of special reasons, the toughness of my body increased by leaps and bounds, surpassing what was recorded in the stellar transformations. Qinyu did not hide the stellar transformations from Hou Fei. In fact, the stellar transformations was not famous in the Ziotianist world. In the past, it had never existed. It was created by Lei Wei. When Lei Wei first came to the Ziotianist world, he also did not publicize his own method. Stellar transformations? I have never heard of it. It doesn't seem to be in my inherited memories. It shouldn't be some extraordinary training method. Hou Fei blinked twice and said. Qinyu was startled. Inherited memories? Inherited memories again. Kuro had inherited memories, so did this Hou Fei. Could it be that all divine beasts had inherited memories? However, Qinyu had seen too few divine beasts, so he naturally could not judge. If he did not interact with divine beasts, how could he know about inherited memories? A strong body is very beneficial for close combat, big brother. I felt that your speed just now was also very fast. If you only used the strength of your body, you would be able to defeat an ordinary Yuanying stage expert. Hou Fei said with absolute certainty. Qinyu naturally knew this in his heart. According to the description of the stellar transformations, at this moment, he should be able to put up a fight against an early Dongshu stage expert. Moreover, because of the meteoric tear, Qinyu's body has been tempered with the help of the primordial solar flame during his practice. Therefore, his body is much stronger than it was judged by the stellar transformations. In the Luxing stage, the energy was many times more condensed than in the nebulous stage. The power of the stars emitted also turned into golden light rays. The energy was extremely pure and condensed, and its destructive power was extremely strong. Fei, I need to consolidate my current cultivation for the next few days. I don't need you to guard me for these few days. By the way, did you find out anything about Chap's death last time? Qinyu always felt that Chap's death was too strange. At that time, Qinyu was busy cultivating, so he did not pay much attention to it. Hou Fei shook his head and said, nothing. According to the other protectors, a mysterious person attacked Chap. It seemed that he killed Chap directly with one move, and Chap did not have the slightest ability to defend himself. When other people heard the explosion and went to check, they did not even see the shadow of the mysterious person. Fei, do you mean that from the beginning to the end, no one actually saw the mysterious person? Yes. According to the other protectors, that should be the case. Hou Fei nodded. Where did Chap die? Qinyu's eyes lit up and he asked. Outside the secret room, where Shahon often did closed-door training. Hou Fei said with doubts. Speaking of which, at that time, Shahon was in the secret room, and Chap was killed outside the secret room. Shahon did not catch the murderer. The murderer is too strong. Outside the secret room? Qinyu thought for a moment, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Then he nodded and said with a smile. Well, Fei, go back and have a rest. You must be tired after guarding me these days. Hou Fei stretched and said. Well, in fact, I'm a little tired. Haha, I'm going back to rest. Hou Fei was alive again. After a period of time, Qinyu consolidated his cultivation and familiarized himself with the attacking methods of Luxing. Many of the attacking methods were described in the stellar transformation. Simply speaking, Luxing belonged to the type of people who relied on speed to find the enemy's weakness, and then gave a fatal blow. If he could not beat the enemy, he would escape. Of course, he could also fight head-on, but that would waste his advantage of speed. A few days later, I'm going to train. The rest of you listen to me. When other people come in, Fei, you help to guard outside. Nobody is allowed to disturb me. This time's closed-door training is very important. Everyone who comes in is to be kicked out. Qinyu says to Hou Fei. At the same time, the maids assigned to his courtyard house are also on one side, listening to his orders. Yes, The maids heard Qin Yu's words and immediately complied. Hou Fei winked twice at Qin Yu, and then said in a clear voice, "Big brother, don't worry. If anyone dares to disturb you, I'll directly smash them." Qin Yu also smiled at Hou Fei, and then turned and entered the room. As soon as he entered the room, Qin Yu directly entered the ground according to the most basic earth escape method, recorded in the Xiuxianist secret manual. Then quietly, he left his courtyard without anyone noticing. As soon as he left the courtyard, Qin Yu floated to the ground. "I'd like to see what secrets there are in that secret room." The corners of Qin Yu's mouth had a hint of a smile. Then, he controlled the speed of the northern darkness sigil in his mind and adjusted it slightly. Qin Yu no longer absorbed the surrounding aura, but just didn't release it. This was definitely a good way to restrain one's aura. To be safe, Qin Yu didn't even use the energy in his body, and only used the strength of his muscles. With the movement of his body, he turns into a black beam of light and rushes stealthily towards the northern district of the blood-red cave. Because he does not have any aura, those guardians in the courtyard houses do not discover him either. After leaving the eastern district, the strongest guardians in other places are only at the late Jindan stage, so Qin Yu dodges them with ease. After entering the northern district, Qin Yu took a detour and approached the rockery. That rockery was the entrance to the secret room. Chap was killed outside the secret room. Someone must have approached the secret room. Why did they approach the secret room? It can't be that they deliberately went to the secret room to kill Chap, right? Qin Yu had a hint of a smile on his face. He still remembered what Yezhong had told him. This Shahon had been in closed-door training in the secret room for the past 100 years. There must be a secret. Combined with the fact that Chap was killed by a mysterious person in the secret room, Qin Yu decided to secretly investigate this place. Qin Yu didn't dare to directly approach the rockery at the entrance of the secret room. Therefore, he took a big detour and turned into a gust of wind from another direction. From beginning to end, Qin Yu didn't use the slightest bit of star power. However, just as he approached the rockery, Qin Yu felt a sense of danger. That kind of creepy feeling in his heart was very bad. Qin Yu immediately stopped moving. He directly penetrated the ground at a corner of the rockery and stopped moving. Qin Yu felt that there was definitely someone lurking in the surroundings. And this person was very strong. Qin Yu didn't dare to use his soul sense. He completely restrained his aura in the dark north. He completely used his ears to sense any sound. Time passed just like that. Qin Yu's heart kept feeling that sense of danger. He actually just stayed motionless under the rockery. At this time he needed patience. Inside the secret room of the Red Blood Cave, Shahon was sitting cross-legged on the floor. Streams of demonic elemental energy were constantly wearing down the dust removal restriction. The light on the surface of the black jade box was getting dimmer and dimmer. Shahon's eyes were blazing with a faint blood-red color. Obviously, at this moment, Shahon was extremely excited. Bo! A very soft sound was heard. However, to Shahon, it was no different from a thunderclap. Shahon's entire body shook. He instantly withdrew all of his demonic elemental energy. The light in Shahon's eyes seemed to have substance. It was completely thrown into this black jade box. Finally succeeded. Shahon opened the black jade box with trembling hands. There was no technique to open this black jade box. After opening it, one could see that there was a 3-inch long jade sword lying inside. The jade sword was sparkling and translucent. On the hilt of the sword, there was an ancient seal character 8. There was a jade slip on top of the jade sword. Shahon directly took the jade slip and scanned it with his spiritual sense. Immediately, a look of ecstasy appeared on his face. Haha, sure enough, just like the legends, the Nine Swords Immortal Mansion, a mansion left behind by an immortal. This is the 8th jade sword. Cha Hong was so excited that he could die. No matter who it was, he had spent 100 years to wear down the dust removal restriction. He had done this every day for 100 years. Who wouldn't be excited? What's more, this jade sword had given Shahon a slight possibility of realizing his dream. Even the jade sword itself was precious enough for Shahon. Because this jade sword was a top-grade holy weapon. Top-grade holy weapons were very precious to the Penglai Immortal region. the Purple Flame Devilish Dungeon, the Blue Dragon Temple, the Nine Spirits Hall, and the Blue River Province. However, it wasn't as if they didn't have it. But for Shahon, it was a top-grade treasure. Shahon's own top-grade holy weapon was nothing more than a top-grade holy weapon. Boom! Following a boom, a figure appears in the secret room. The defense of the secret room simply had no effect on this person. The newcomer is a tall and sturdy man dressed in tight purple clothes. He is staring at Shahon with a smiling expression in his eyes. Shahon suddenly looks at this purple-clad man. His face changes color greatly at once. Ditong. Seeing this eighth brother of the Nine Spirits Hall, Shahon's face darkens at once. At the same time, he becomes slightly flustered. The 9 brothers of the Nine Spirits Hall have different levels of power. Among them, the eldest brother Di-Long is the strongest. But this Ditong can definitely rank 3rd. Shahon, you spend 100 years to help the Nine Spirits Hall break the restriction on this black jade case. I should thank you. Ditong says smilingly. Oh right, don't think about your guardians. First of all, they'll just be throwing away their lives if they come here. Second of all, when I came down just now, I set up a restrictive spell around the rockery. Shahon calms down in an instant and says, Eighth Majesty, I'm sure no living person knows that I've obtained one of the 9 swords. How did you know? Ditong says smilingly, no living person knows. But how could the people you killed not record it? Hearing this, Shahon cannot help giving a bitter smile. In the past, he also thought that those people might have recorded it, so he destroyed everything they had. But would those people have definitely kept the things they had recorded with them? How could they have destroyed everything? This is already beyond the power of human power. All right, Ditong. It's said that you've reached the middle Dongshu stage. Looks like I'm no match for you. Shahon says so weakly on the surface. But in an instant, a drop of his blood seeps into that jade sword. At this moment, Shahon has already bound it to him. With this top-grade holy weapon, Shahon's power has at least increased by a lot. Seeing this, Ditong is not worried at all. A hint of disdain appears on the corners of his mouth. However, at this moment, someone is standing in a dark corner outside the secret room and eavesdropping. It is none other than Qinyu. When Ditong set up the restrictive spell, he only covered the entire rockery. However, he did not expect that someone had been secretly hiding under the rockery for a long time. Hearing that the secret room's door is blown open, Qinyu waits for a moment then quietly follows inside. Chapter 129. The rockery in the northern part of the Red Blood Cave occupies an extremely large area. The underground secret rooms below it are arranged one after another in picturesque disorder, making it look like a maze. The overall layout is at least 1000 m in length and width. Qinyu is leaning against a corner with his back to the wall. A black jade case, one of the 9 swords? Eighth Majesty Ditong? Hearing Shahon's words inside, Qinyu roughly understands what is going on. Obviously the black jade case is rather difficult to open. It took Shahon 100 years to open it. One of the 9 swords is inside the case. Now Eighth Majesty of the Nine Spirits Hall has come to snatch one of the 9 swords. It took Shahon 100 years to open that black jade case. Moreover, he has been very cautious. In the end he still had to let Eighth Majesty of the Nine Spirits Hall come to snatch it in person. Qinyu feels his heart beating slightly faster. Even the leader of the Nine Spirits Hall is so nervous. What kind of precious treasure is that? Qinyu is completely in the embryonic state. Thanks to the northern underworld secret skill of the Devil Path, Qinyu does not emit any aura at all. I can't use my eyes to see. Shahon and Ditong are both Dongshu stage experts and exceptionally talented. If I look at them, perhaps my gaze will attract their attention. At this moment, Qinyu absolutely cannot allow himself to make any mistakes. Qinyu keeps close to the wall, concentrating all his attention on his ears. Now he can only rely on his ears to judge the situation inside by listening to the 2 people's conversation and fighting. In the secret room, Ditong is neither arrogant nor impatient. He is also not worried at all. He is looking at Shahon very casually. In his eyes, Shahon simply has no power to resist. As long as he gets into action, Shahon will be easily captured. Even though Shahon has bound that jade sword with his blood and taken it, Ditong is not worried at all. That jade sword has fused with your body. Are you ready? Ditong looks at Shahon with a mocking smile. Even though his manner is not fierce, it gives off a feeling that victory is already in his grasp. Facing Ditong, Shahon, who has bound the jade sword with his blood, is not afraid at all. Ditong, did you kill my second brother? Shahon asks. Ditong nods smilingly. Why? My second brother was only in the middle stage of yuanying. He posed no threat to you at all. Why did you kill him? Shahon's face becomes somewhat unsightly. However, Ditong bursts out laughing coldly. Haha, what a good brotherly love. Haha, I'm dying of laughter. Ditong's wild laughter is filled with disdain. Afterwards, Ditong looks at Shahon and says coldly, don't pretend to have deep brotherly affection. You've just dripped your blood on that jade sword and accepted it as your master. But you basically haven't used your own genuine flame to refine it. Perhaps you're refining it in your body by the demonic soul flame. Humph. You're just stalling for time by talking to me here, so that the jade sword can be more easily refined and controlled. Ditong immediately sees through Shahon's purpose. Shahon's face, however, remains unchanged. He neither denies nor admits to it. Are you done? I can wait for you. Ditong crosses his arms over his chest and slightly raises his chin, looking coldly at Shahon. He is waiting for Shahon to refine the jade sword. He is 100% confident about this fight. In terms of body, purple demon aquatic dragons are naturally stronger than blood-red aquatic pythons. In terms of power, Ditong, who is in the middle Dongshi stage, is superior to Shahon, who is in the early Dongshi stage. In terms of holy weapons, Ditong also has a top-grade holy weapon. Moreover, it is the weapon he is best at. Shahon, however, has no choice but to use his only top-grade holy weapon, that jade sword. In terms of the exquisiteness of the techniques he cultivates, 8th Majesty of the Nine Spirits Hall is naturally superior to Shahon. It can be said that Shahon is inferior to Ditong in every aspect. Ditong, you 9 brothers can be so arrogant only because you were born as purple demon aquatic dragons, and because you joined hands. Now that you're alone, I'd like to see how strong you can be, Shahon says coldly. At the same time, the look in his eyes becomes so fierce that it seems to be able to penetrate metal and stone. Shahon knows that he is in a disadvantageous position, so he can only rely on his courage and his momentum. Go all out. Being in a disadvantageous position, Shahon has no choice but to go all out and fight with his life on the line. No matter what happens, Shahon cannot afford to lose. Once he loses, he will have nothing left. Not to mention his ambition and the jade sword. Even his life will be gone. How can he admit defeat so easily after having been in seclusion for so long? Looking at Ditong, Shahon's eyes are filled with arrogance. No matter what happens, I'll fight to the death first. In the Zyashinist world, whoever has the biggest fist has the right to speak. Good, looks like you've got some courage. But if you have ambition, you must not only be scheming but also have power. Ditong's voice suddenly becomes sonorous and forceful. His eyes glitter with coldness. The most important thing is whose fist is harder. Ditong and Shahon stare at each other. Oppressive. The atmosphere in the secret room is frighteningly oppressive. The two of them are paying attention to each other, paying attention to each other's every movement. Once either of them relaxes even a little bit, they will probably suffer the other's continuous attacks. Even though Qinyu is outside the secret room, he still senses the oppressive atmosphere. Suddenly, like a sharp sword piercing through the air, the oppressive space is pierced through in an instant. Immediately, there is a series of sonorous sounds of metal striking metal. At the same time, there is also a deep sound of the air being torn apart. Qinyu simply does not dare to look with his eyes. He can only hide in a dark corner and rely on his ears to listen. In the secret room, Ditong, who is dressed in tight purple clothes, is holding a long spear in his hand. The long spear seems to have come to life in his hands. Compared to Xiang Yang in the past, Ditong's close-range spear arts are not inferior in the least. Moreover, In terms of using the long spear to attack from a distance, Ditong is even more formidable. From time to time, the long spear leaves his hand and thrusts at Chap's vital parts like a flash of lightning. Occasionally, it bursts forth from Ditong's hand like various flood dragons. In an instant, it completely surrounds Shahon. Shahon simply has no way to escape. Facing this move, Shahon has no choice but to go all out. Break! Surrounded by countless spear silhouettes, Shahon, who is in a disadvantageous position, glares furiously. All of a sudden, he lets out a furious shout. That jade sword suddenly expands in size and turns into a huge sword. Holding that huge sword, Shahon makes a horizontal sweep with it, smashing it with brute force. Various spear silhouettes vanish, but Ditong gives a cold laugh and suddenly shakes his long spear. The spearhead of the long spear immediately starts to vibrate. In an instant, it rapidly makes several hundred collisions against that huge sword. In an instant, the huge sword's power is completely neutralized. Ditong stretches out his hand. The long spear suddenly sticks to the huge sword like a snake. No good. Shahon's face changes color. No matter how he moves his huge sword, Ditong's spearhead sticks to it. Moreover, almost in an instant, the spearhead stabs extremely fast along the huge sword towards Shahon's body like a python sticking out its tongue. Your Majesty Ditong, your close combat skills are very powerful, Shahon says loudly. At the same time, his huge sword expands to 3 cun long in an instant. Shahon himself, however, retreats all the way to a corner of the private room. Ditong does not chase after him. Instead, he withdraws his spear and stands there. However, various purple rays of light begin to rise from his body. Shahon, you even dare to fight me in your human form. Looks like you're courting death. Since that's the case, I won't be lenient either. I'll let you have a taste of my purple demon aquatic dragon's unique skill. Surrounded by various purple rays of light, Ditong's aura increases at an astonishing speed. Shahon's face changes color. No good. Looks like I'll have to use that move in advance. Shahon immediately shouts loudly and disappears from his original place. Afterimages. In an instant, several afterimages appear around Ditong. In just an instant, Ditong's surroundings are covered with afterimages. At the same time, various sword lights shoot out extremely fast. Ditong stands resolutely in the middle of all these afterimages. When he uses his spear, it looks like the whole sky is filled with spear shadows. Not a single shadow is missed. Even the area around Ditong's spear forms a vacuum. Growl. A terrifying deep growl rises. At the same time, a huge python's head suddenly appears in front of Ditong out of nowhere. The python opens its mouth wide and lunges at Ditong, as if it wants to eat him directly. Insignificant skill. Ditong does not care about it at all. His spear strikes ferociously at the python's head like a long whip. However, at this moment, whiz! A green ray of light shoots out from the python's mouth like lightning, and arrives in front of Ditong in an instant. Ditong is simply unable to block it, and can only try his best to turn his body. However, that jade sword still pierces through his shoulder blade directly. Ditong's face becomes unsightly in an instant. Ditong, who has been treating this like a game since the beginning, finally gets angry. Just now when Shahon used his true form, as a blood-red aquatic python to swallow him, he did not pay attention to it. Who would have thought that the swallow was only a pretense? The real attack was the jade sword that shot out from his mouth. Ditong is injured and furious at the same time. Shahon, you are courting death. Ditong's originally calm face has become distorted completely. A red light appears indistinctly in his eyes. Blue veins bulge out on his face, making him look frighteningly ferocious. Ditong suddenly opens his mouth. At the same time, his body changes extremely fast into a terrifying aquatic dragon. Growl. A furious sound rises. Boom! The walls of the secret room are immediately shattered by the huge body of the purple demon aquatic dragon. With a series of loud rumbles, the thick purple body shakes non-stop and hits the walls one after another. The underground secret rooms suffer unprecedented damage. Chinyu, who has been hiding outside and eavesdropping, knows that the situation is bad when he notices the tail of a blood-red aquatic python slithering past the door of the secret room. These two fellas have transformed. Qingyu immediately rushes outside extremely fast. He does not dare to continue staying outside this secret room. If he does, the secret room will definitely be destroyed along with Di Tong's transformation, and he will also be discovered. If he is discovered by the two furious fellas, Qingyu will be in danger. Even though he has reached the early stage of Lu Xing, Qingyu is not sure if he can defeat Di Tong and Xiahong. As soon as Qingyu leaves that wall extremely fast, the purple demon aquatic dragon transformed by Di Tong shakes its tail and shakes the wall, causing the broken stones to fly in all directions. Di Tong's furious body twists madly and whips all the obstacles. Immediately, a series of cracking sounds are heard. Boom! Qingyu does not dare to use the power of the stars to run. Even though the furious Di Tong and Xiahong may not necessarily discover him if he uses the power of the stars, Qingyu does not want any accidents to happen. Therefore, Qingyu only relies on his physical strength. Like a wisp of blue smoke, Qingyu shuttles back and forth among the broken rocks. In a split second, Qingyu has already reached the entrance of the underground secret room group. Qingyu sticks close to the entrance and looks inside. The destruction is still going on. The purple demon aquatic dragon and the blood-red aquatic python are swimming madly around each other. One secret room after another is smashed into pieces. Luckily, there are restrictive spells set up around the rockery, so no matter how loud the noise inside is, the people outside cannot hear anything. In just a while, the cracking sounds of the underground explosion stop. At this moment, half of the underground secret rooms had been destroyed. In the middle of the underground secret rooms, there was a huge secret room that was 600 to 700 meters long and wide. Two huge snake-like monsters were facing each other in this newly formed underground secret room. Like the wind, Qingyu floats to the side of a pile of broken rocks. Through the cracks between the broken rocks, Qingyu stealthily takes a look inside. As soon as he takes a look, Qingyu gasps. On the right side of this open space 600 to 700 m in length and width is a huge blood-red aquatic python. It is none other than the blood-red aquatic python. Visually, this blood-red aquatic python is more than 100 m long and as thick as the mouth of a large water tank. Its scales all radiate cold light. On the left side, there is a purple-colored divine dragon, which is 70 to 80 m long and as thick as the mouth of a water tank. Compared to a real dragon, this dragon only has a single horn. At the same time, there is a string of erect purple-colored thorns on its back. Each thorn is as big as the long spear used by Di Long in the past. The blood-red aquatic python on the right, and the purple demon aquatic dragon on the left. Sensing the enormous auras of the two demonic beasts, Qingyu is extremely shocked. If Xiahong had not transformed, Qingyu would have been able to deal with him. But after transforming, Qingyu could only rely on the existence of Lu Xing's tear to put up a fight. Moreover, the result would be unpredictable. As for Di Long, he is even more powerful. The purple demon aquatic dragon's purple eyes are fixed on the blood-red aquatic python, which are full of fury. The blood-red aquatic python is also glaring at the purple demon aquatic dragon with its blood-red eyes. It doesn't want to shrink back in the slightest. Its forked tongue is also constantly flicking, ready to attack at any time. Hiding in the pile of broken rocks, Qingyu remains motionless. He simply doesn't dare to stare at the two huge monsters with his full attention. Qingyu can only slightly observe them from the corners of his eyes. However, even if Qingyu were to stare at them directly, they wouldn't pay attention to him. Because they don't dare to be distracted. Growl. Because the purple demon aquatic dragon, which was stabbed a moment ago, suddenly roars and waves its tail. The entire purple demon aquatic dragon rushes towards the blood-red aquatic python, like a violent purple wave. At this moment, the blood-red aquatic python also lets out a low growl. Its head shoots out extremely fast and opens its bloody mouth to bite the purple demon aquatic dragon directly. Chapter 130. Almost at the same time, the purple demon aquatic dragon and the blood-red aquatic python shoot out light beams from their bloody mouths. The purple demon aquatic dragon shoots out a long spear from its mouth, but this spear is now much shorter than before. The blood-red aquatic python shoots out a jade sword from its mouth. Bang! The long spear and the jade sword collide with each other. Afterwards, they circle and attack each other again. The purple demon aquatic dragon and the blood-red aquatic python are controlling their holy weapons to attack, while using their own bodies to attack. Azuyawist's body is the strongest. The purple demon aquatic dragon's black horn pierces through the air and pierces directly towards the blood-red aquatic python's head with a shrill whistle. When the purple demon aquatic dragon uses its black horn, it is terrifyingly powerful and can definitely break through the blood-red aquatic python's defense. The blood-red aquatic python's red tail has also reached an astonishing speed. It whips towards the purple demon aquatic dragon as fast as lightning. A huge purple shadow and a blood-red shadow are chasing after each other at an extremely high speed, entangling each other and attacking each other. Although the purple demon aquatic dragon and the blood-red aquatic python are large in size, they are also terrifyingly fast. Poochie! The purple demon aquatic dragon's claw scratches the blood-red aquatic python's body. Under its claw, numerous cracks appear on the python's hard scales, and then they shatter. In an instant, the python's skin is torn apart, blood splashes out and flesh is exposed. The blood-red aquatic python immediately utters a painful howl. At the same time, a red blur whips the purple demon aquatic dragon. The purple demon aquatic dragon is unable to withstand the power of the blood-red aquatic python's tail and is unexpectedly sent flying. But even though it is flying, it still waves its tail and attacks the blood-red aquatic python again. Long and Shahon control the long spear and the jade sword to attack each other unceasingly. Neither of them dares to relax in the slightest. A top-grade holy weapon is still very threatening to them. Puff! Shahon's true body, the blood-red aquatic python, opens its mouth and shoots out a yellow beam of light towards the long spear directly. The long spear dodges, but the yellow beam of light unexpectedly turns around and follows it, then attaches itself to the long spear. The long spear's speed immediately slows down. Being stuck to the yellow venom, the long spear's spirituality immediately drops to an astonishing level, and it is almost out of control. Deadly poison. The blood-red aquatic python's deadly poison. Chinyu, who was secretly peeking from the pile of rubble, immediately recognized the yellow venom. During the battle between Chinyu and Shagon, Shagon had also used this move. This venom was extremely powerful. Now that it was used by Shahon, who was at the Dongxi realm, the venom would naturally be even more powerful. Roar! Shahon lets out a low roar excitedly. At the same time, his holy sense sounds in Dilong's mind. Purple demon aquatic dragon, wait for your death. The jade sword turns into a beam of cyan light and stabs directly at the aquatic dragon's head at an extremely fast speed. The purple demon flood dragon breathed a ball of flame at the long spear, but at this moment the jade sword had already shot over. Pooh! 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 The sound of something piercing through the air was heard. The spikes on the back of the purple demon flood dragon, which looked like long spears, suddenly left its body and shot out at an extremely fast speed, like javelins piercing through the air. Clang! Clang! The jade sword is unexpectedly hit by 3 spear spikes in succession and is sent flying to one side. The blood-red aquatic python immediately coils its body and lashes out at those spikes with its tail at an extremely fast speed. However, there are really too many spear-sized spikes, and their offensive power is frighteningly strong. The blood-red aquatic python dodges more than half of them, but 20 to 30 of them still shoot towards its body. The blood-red aquatic python's tail twitches as fast as lightning, but these spikes are too fast. Even so, it only managed to remove 10 odd spikes from its tail. The remaining 10 or so have pierced directly into its body. Its scales are shattered, and the spikes have completely penetrated its body. Almost 10 spikes have pierced through its body in succession. Having suffered such heavy injuries, even the blood-red aquatic python is unable to withstand them. With a flash of light, the blood-red aquatic python transforms into Shahon in the blink of an eye. Shahon's body is stained with blood. Many small holes have appeared on his body. Obviously he has been seriously injured. Ah, good heavens! I, Shahon, am extraordinarily talented, and have even reached the Dongshu stage. Could it be that I can't even survive one of the 9 swords? I've done everything I can, but in the end my secret was discovered. It's the heavens who want to destroy me. It's not a human's fault. Shahon turns his face upwards and laughs wildly. By now, he already knows that he is done for. With a flash of light, the purple demon aquatic dragon also transforms into Ditong's appearance. At the moment, Ditong's face is very pale. The purple demon aquatic dragon will not shoot out the spikes on its back, unless it is at the most critical moment. Once they are shot out, they will cause great harm to its body. Still want to run away? Ditong's body moves. He grabs the ground and smashes it. A stream of demonic elemental energy rushes into the ground. In just a short while, that stream of demonic elemental energy rushes out of the ground. Now there is a purple yuanying wrapped around it. Judging from its appearance, it is none other than Shahon's. Humph, Shahon. I didn't expect you to want to run away with the yuanying after letting out a sigh to draw my attention. Ditong grabs Shahon with his left hand and says with a cold laugh, Yuanying. The purple yuanying Shahon shows a frightened expression. He utters in a shrill voice, Ditong, you've already pierced several vital parts of my body. I simply can't use it anymore. I can only practice the body of an individual immortal. Why don't you let me go this time? Right at this moment, a green ray of light unexpectedly shoots out from the purple yuanying. It is none other than that top-grade jade sword. Ditong immediately feels a sharp pain in his left hand. Shahon exerts his utmost power to activate the top-grade jade sword. In an instant, the bones of Ditong's left hand are shattered and his flesh and blood scatter. Shahon immediately turns into a purple ray of light and shoots outside extremely fast. This is his last move. Die. Extremely furious, Ditong bursts out a terrifying demonic elemental energy, which sweeps Shahon's yuanying away in the blink of an eye. The demonic elemental energy violently attacks Shahon's yuanying. The yuanying is shaken violently. In an instant, the soul contained in the yuanying is scattered. Ditong shows no mercy at all for the enmity of having his hand cut off. Shahon is only at the Dongshu stage, so he has just been able to fuse his soul with the yuanying. The yuanying's defense is really too weak, so a fierce attack from the demonic elemental energy is enough to scatter his soul. Ditong reaches out with his right hand and grabs Shahon's yuanying. Now there is no soul in the yuanying, and it is nothing more than an energy crystal. Shahon directly sucks this yuanying into his own space ring. Shahon, you dared to cut off my hand. At the moment, Ditong's chest is filled with fury. If he does not ascend, he will not be able to regrow his limbs. However, Shahon has already been killed by him. So how can Ditong take revenge on him? With a wave of his sleeve, the top-class jade sword and Shahon's own storage bracelet all arrive in his hand. Only when Ditong sees these top-class jade swords does he calm down a bit. He turns around and takes a look at Shahon's corpse. Flames of fury burn in his eyes again. He opens his mouth and shoots a flame at Shahon. Even if his soul is destroyed, he will destroy Shahon's corpse to vent his hatred for having his hand cut off. No good. When he just spits out the flame, his face changes color greatly. Only at the last moment does he sense an extremely condensed and sharp force arrive behind him in an instant. His holy sense naturally discovers the enemy's appearance. It is none other than a black-robed, grim-faced young man. This person is none other than Chinyu. Golden threads run through Chinyu's tendons and meridians all over his body. With a flash, Chinyu arrives directly behind Ditong, like a golden beam of light from a pile of crushed rocks several hundred meters away along a mysterious trajectory. His speed is astonishingly fast. Chinyu clenches his teeth, and his blue veins bulge out. His eyes are filled with killing intent. Break! Chinyu is wearing the flaming glove on his left hand. At the same time, golden star power condenses completely on his 5 fingers, making them look like 5 golden fingers. Chinyu forms a sword with his left hand and thrusts it at Tong's back as fast as lightning. Qin Yu wants to pierce through Tong's body and grab the Yuanying directly. But what kind of expert is Tong? He senses Qin Yu in an instant, but Qin Yu is too fast. Poor Tong's left hand has already been cut off. Thanks to his rich experience, Tong makes the best judgment. He immediately lets go of the top-grade jade sword and Shahon's storage bracelet in his right hand, letting them fall to the ground. Without moving his head, Tong stretches his right hand backwards. In an instant, a short spear appears in his hand out of thin air. It is none other than that top-grade holy spear. The spear can change its size at will. At the moment it is as long as a dagger. Holding this spear, Tong thrusts it directly at Qin Yu's dantian. He wants to break Qin Yu's dantian directly and destroy Qin Yu's dantian Yuanying. Since you want my life, I'll take yours. Tong makes up his mind, while attacking, as a purple demon aquatic dragon. His purple demon armor immediately appears on the surface of his body. The purple demon armor is transformed from the scales of a purple demon aquatic dragon, so its defense is extremely astonishing. Tong's instantaneous reaction is to attack and defend. Seeing this attack coming at him, Qin Yu is greatly alarmed. Even though he does not have Yuanying, the Lu Xing light spot in his body is also Qin Yu's energy core. What will he do if his power is greatly damaged after being stabbed like this? However, at this moment Qin Yu does not dodge. Qin Yu directly grabs that spear with his right hand. His right hand, wrapped in the flaming glove, reaches for the spear. Almost at the same time as his right hand reaches out, a flaming sword automatically appears in his right hand. Clang! The flaming sword and the spear collide. Tong is going all out, so this spear attack of his contains terrifying power. Moreover, the spear is a top-grade holy weapon, while the flaming sword is only a high-grade holy weapon. Therefore, the flaming sword is almost shattered into countless fragments in an instant. The sword fingers of Qin Yu's left hand are wrapped in the flaming glove. At the same time, they condense golden star power and thrust at the purple demon armor like a golden Lu Xing. Pung! Tong's purple demon armor vibrates for a while. However, only faint cracks appear on it, and it does not break apart. Tong cannot help smiling faintly. At the same time, his spear hits the flaming glove on Qin Yu's right hand. After attacking with the sword fingers of his left hand, Qin Yu simultaneously changes them again. He contracts his sword fingers and makes a knuckle attack. A knuckle attack with the strongest penetrating power. Pung! The part of the purple demon armor that has been attacked breaks apart completely. At the same time, the flaming glove on Qin Yu's right hand is also shattered by the spear. Qin Yu unexpectedly changes his left hand again, as if he cannot feel the pain in his right hand. His knuckles suddenly open and form a sharp claw which directly grabs into Tong's body. Almost at the same time as Qin Yu's left hand stabs into his body, Tong's Yuanying immediately dives into the ground along his feet. Pung! Even though Qin Yu's right palm has been pierced by the spear, his whole body moves. At the same time, a golden thread shoots out from his left hand and shoots directly into the ground. In an instant, another part of the ground disintegrates, and a Yuanying flies out from it. That golden thread pierces directly into the Yuanying's body and directly crushes Tong's soul. Reaching out with his left hand to grab the Yuanying, Qin Yu's entire back is covered in cold sweat. The spear that has pierced through his palm also stops moving. Too powerful. The purple demon aquatic dragon is really too powerful. After the fight against the blood-red aquatic python, the purple demon aquatic dragon has even transformed into a human. It should be known that in his human form, he is not as powerful as in his true form. Even so, Qin Yu's sudden sneak attack is still extremely dangerous. If he hadn't been injured in the previous fight and lost one of his hands, perhaps I wouldn't have been able to kill him even if he attacked me with both hands. Qin Yu feels a burst of fear after the event. Experts of Lu Xing's stage usually rely on their speed to dodge attacks, so Qin Yu's sneak attack is really dangerous. Especially when that purple demon armor appears. Qin Yu is really startled. The purple demon armor's defense is really too astonishing. Luckily for him, Qin Yu responds quickly and launches 3 attacks in succession. First, it is a finger sword attack, then a finger fist attack and finally a claw attack. Qin Yu's left hand does not stop at all. Only after 3 attacks in succession does it penetrate Ditong's body. Even so, Qin Yu's right hand is still pierced through and is dripping with blood. Because of the sneak attack, the flaming sword was destroyed, one of the flaming gloves was destroyed and my right hand was pierced through. Qin Yu lets out a long sigh of relief. But seeing his trophies, Qin Yu is unable to conceal the excitement on his face. This jade sword was precisely the sword of the legendary 9 swords that caused Chahong to suffer a fatal calamity. A spear, a top-grade holy weapon. Shahong's storage bracelet. As the master of the Red Blood Cave, how can Shahong's storage bracelet not contain any treasures? Ditong's storage bracelet alone shows how high his status is. Very few people in the overseas Xiuzhen world have a storage bracelet, so what is inside it? At the same time, there is also Ditong's middle Dongshu stage Yuanying and Shahong's early Dongshu stage Yuanying. To Qin Yu, these 2 Yuanying items are more precious than anything else. After all, compared to treasures, personal power is more important. Qin Yu directly sucks everything into his own storage bracelet. These corpses. Seeing Shahong's and Ditong's corpses, Qin Yu thinks for a while then sucks them directly into his storage bracelet to destroy all traces. Perhaps other people will find this place empty and will not be able to imagine what happened here for the time being. Even though nearly half of the underground secret rooms have been destroyed, the outside world does not know about this because of the restrictive spells. Qin Yu goes out of the underground secret rooms. Regardless of what other people will think when they discover this place, Qin Yu easily breaks the restrictive spells and immediately uses his body maneuvering skill. Golden stellar energy runs through his whole body. Qin Yu turns into a golden beam of light and goes directly to his own courtyard house in the Eastern District. Chapter 131. In a courtyard owned by Qin Yu in the eastern part of the Red Blood Cave, Hou Fei is sitting with legs crossed on the ground, quietly guarding Qin Yu in the room behind him. Even though Hou Fei knows that Qin Yu slipped away as soon as he entered the room, this is something Qin Yu and Hou Fei have discussed beforehand, so naturally Hou Fei has to put on an act. Suddenly, Hou Fei opens his eyes and looks at a figure who has suddenly appeared in front of him. Big brother. A hint of joy appears on Hou Fei's face at once. But as soon as he sees Qin Yu's right hand, Hou Fei's face changes color. His right hand has been pierced through, and the wound is hideous and terrifying. Qin Yu's face turns slightly pale. He hurriedly instructs, "Fei, don't ask so many questions. Come into the room with me." After saying so, Qin Yu's body flashes and he enters the room directly. Feeling puzzled, Hou Fei also rushes into the room at once. At the same time, he waves his hand to set up a restrictive spell outside the room, so that outsiders will not know what is going on inside. After entering the room, Qin Yu sits down with legs crossed on the bed. Only then does he let out a long sigh of relief. At the moment, Qin Yu does not care that his right hand has been pierced through. Just now, he and Ditong had decided life and death in a split second. Only after returning to his room does Qin Yu calm down completely. "Big brother, what actually happened?" Hou Fei hurriedly asks. As soon as Qin Yu recalls what he has gained this time, a smile appears on his face. "Fei, when it's time to take action, you should take action. You can't be timid. Otherwise, when the opportunity is gone, it will be too late to regret it. If you want to get benefits, you have to be brave enough to take risks." Hou Fei is confused. He blinks his eyes and says doubtfully, "Big brother, what do you mean by that?" "Awesome, awesome." Qin Yu, however, does not answer. He waves his hand, and 2 Yuanying floats out. Without soul control, these Yuanying have become a kind of energy crystal. At this moment, it was emitting a faint purple light. Hou Fei's fiery eyes immediately lit up, and 2 beams of light shot towards the 2 Yuanying. What powerful energy! Hou Fei was shocked. At least Dongshu stage. "Big brother, when did you get these 2 Yuanying? With these 2 Yuanying, they will be of great help to you." Hou Fei praised. Qin Yu looked at Hou Fei and said, "You're wrong. Not only will it help me, but it will also help you and Xiao He." Qin Yu never thought of monopolizing it. Among the two great Yuanying, one is the purple demon flood dragon's Yuanying, which is at the middle Dongshu stage. The other is the blood-red aquatic python's Yuanying, which is at the early Dongshu stage. Their Yuanying has a lot more energy than Xiuxianists of the same stage. Xiaohong's Yuanying is enough for me. As for Ditong's, Fei and Xiaohei can refine it together. Ho Fei shakes his head. I can't. This purple demon flood dragon's Yuanying, which is at the middle Dongshu stage, has a tremendous amount of energy. I won't be able to absorb it. I've been away from the valley recently. When I was guarding you, my mental state made a slight breakthrough. Now my soul is almost at the late Yuanying stage. Big brother, do you understand what I mean? Ho Fei's cultivation has now reached the middle Yuanying stage, and his soul has reached the late Yuanying stage. Ho Fei continues. I'll be unable to absorb energy after reaching the late Yuanying stage at most. If I refine and absorb too much energy, the energy in my body will exceed the level of my soul. In that case, it will be very easy for the energy in my body to go out of control, and even cause an energy riot. If it is serious, I may even suffer from Qigong deviation, and have my soul destroyed. Qin Yu is also very clear about this. The soul is the foundation of the body. His control over his consciousness is only so strong. If his control over his consciousness is too strong, it will be hard to control it during a fight. Secondly, it may cause an energy riot. I'm clear about this. But Fei, your cultivation has reached the middle Yuanying stage long ago. If you want to reach the late Yuanying stage, presumably you only need to refine part of your Yuanying. Xiaohei Qin Yu thought of Kuro, and took out a transmission token. Ho Fei saw Qin Yu take out a transmission token, and knew that Qin Yu was sending a message to Xiaohei. Xiaohei, after I stabilize the situation in the Red Blood Cave, I will send you a message and ask you to come over. Right, I have a Yuanying of the insightful emptiness stage. How much energy can you absorb? Qin Yu also doubts Xiaohei's ability to absorb energy. After a short while Kuro's message came back. Insightful emptiness stage? Big brother, who did you kill? It can't be that guy Xiaohong, right? As for how much energy I can absorb, even though I've been transformed by a forbidden technique, and my cultivation speed has increased a lot, and my soul level has also increased a lot, but I've been cultivating for too short a time. Now my soul level is only at the early Yuanying stage, so I don't dare to refine and absorb any more energy. Xiaohei's reply made Qin Yu feel helpless. In the overseas Xiuyao world, there are people who can refine Jin Dan Yuanying, but real experts don't dare to let their power exceed their soul level. Both Ho Fei and Kuro know that Qin Yu has Yuanying beside him for them to refine and absorb, but they don't dare to absorb too much energy. In the past, Lei Wei also didn't dare to casually refine energy, even though he had the power to kill enemies at a higher level than him, because his soul level increased slowly. There are ways to improve one's power. One is to gather all kinds of spiritual herbs, and refine them into some pills that can increase one's power. The main reason for this is that rare herbs are rather difficult to find, and the refining method is also rather complicated. The second is to refine other Xiuxianists' Yuanying Jin Dan, but it's very difficult for the soul level to advance by leaps and bounds. At least until now, no one has found a way to make the soul level increase abruptly. Therefore, there aren't many Xiuxianists who refine Jin Dan Yuanying. After all, if they dare to refine and absorb it, their soul level must at least be high enough. But big brother, when I was listening to Miss Li Er's zither music in the ravine, I felt that my mental state was improving very quickly. I reckon it won't be long before my soul level reaches the middle Yuanying stage. I'll come to find you then. Kuro sends another message. Okay. I also have a lot of things to take care of in the Red Blood Cave. Afterwards, Qin Yu cuts off contact with Xiaohei. Fei, this is Yuanying at the middle Dongshu stage. You're more powerful than me, so you should refine part of it, until you reach the late Yuanying stage first. Qin Yu is not in a hurry, so he lets Ho Fei refine it first. Ho Fei does not refuse and sits down with legs crossed straight away. Ho Fei opens his mouth. A ball of genuine fire immediately shoots out, wrapping around Ditong's Yuanying. Being burned by the genuine fire, the Yuanying slowly melts. Various purple liquids flow down from the Yuanying and fuse directly with Hou Fei's body. In terms of cultivation speed, it is more than 10 times faster than Qin Yu's refining speed. Qin Yu watches over him quietly on one side. Half a day later, about 20% of the Yuanying has been refined. Hou Fei, who has been sitting with legs crossed, suddenly opens his fiery eyes, emitting a brilliant light. Qin Yu's holy sense has already discovered that Hou Fei has reached the late Yuanying stage. He immediately says smilingly, "Congratulations, Fei. Now that you've reached the late Yuanying stage, perhaps you can even give that purple demon aquatic dragon Ditong a run for his money." Hou Fei is very excited. He shouts strangely, "Ditong?" Even though he is at the middle Dongshu stage, his true body is a purple demon aquatic dragon, so he is much more powerful than Xiuxianists of the same stage. In the past, I definitely couldn't beat him. But now, Kaka, Hou Fei has a complacent look on his face. "Big brother, you should quickly cultivate. I really don't know how your soul has progressed so fast. If my soul's level was as high as yours, I would have also refined the Yuanying in one go." Hou Fei looks at Qin Yu and cannot help saying with a sigh. Qin Yu gives a smile. Even now, Qin Yu knows nothing about Lu Xing's tears. He can't even control what Lu Xing's tears do. Everything is caused by the various kinds of energy that Lu Xing's tears emit on their own. He is really lucky to have obtained this kind of treasure. But it can also be called fate. "All right, Fei, you stay outside and guard me. I'm going to absorb this Yuanying wholeheartedly." Ditong's Yuanying, whose energy has been absorbed by Qin Yu, is once again refined and absorbed by Qin Yu. In terms of soul's level, Qin Yu has now reached the early Dongshu stage. In fact, Qin Yu is also amazed by the rapid progress of his own soul's level. However, can Qin Yu's improvement in soul's level be called rapid? Xiao Hei's soul alone has improved extremely rapidly after using the forbidden technique. In just a few years, he has reached the early Yuanying stage from the early Jin Dan stage from the early Yuanying stage. It is also very normal for a Xiuxianist soul's level to advance by leaps and bounds after gaining enlightenment. Enlightenment can only be encountered by chance but not sought. However, Qin Yu's steady improvement has been going on all the time. Since then, Qin Yu has been refining the Yuanying in his own room with peace of mind, not caring about what is happening outside. Hou Fei is also guarding outside Qin Yu's room attentively. Nobody can enter Qin Yu's room, no matter who it is. In the north district of the Red Blood Cave, nearly half of the underground secret rooms under the rockery have been destroyed. However, because they are underground, the rockery, and so on above the ground have not changed much. The only change is that the hole leading to the underground secret rooms has been destroyed. However, the hole is inside the rockery, so one can't see it without looking carefully. Even the guards of the Red Blood Cave have to take a detour every time they patrol the underground secret rooms. This is because this is the order of the cave master Shahon. Back then, when Shahon was refining the black jade box in the secret room, he naturally didn't want anyone to come close. By the time Qin Yu broke the restriction and returned to his room, more than half a day has passed. During this time, there have been dozens of patrols. However, because they have to go around the rockery every time, the guards have not noticed that the hole leading to the underground secret rooms has been destroyed. Another patrol team has arrived. The captain in the lead is tall and sturdy with eyes like copper bells. At this moment, he is looking around with his bull-like eyes. However, in the middle of the patrol, the captain suddenly stopped. "Captain Xiankui, what happened? Why did you stop?" a short and fat man asked. Captain Xiankui looked in the direction of the rockery in disbelief. In fact, because all the patrol teams have to take a detour, and the hole leading to the underground secret rooms is inside the rockery, Captain Xiankui can only see a small part of the hole from where he is standing on the patrol route. After this point, he can't see the hole at all. "Follow me," Captain Xiankui shouts and quickly rushes towards the rockery. "Captain, the patrol route is not allowed to pass through there," the short and fat man hurriedly shouts. However, Captain Xiankui, who is running close to the rockery, suddenly shouts, "This is bad. The hole leading to the underground secret rooms has been destroyed. Quickly go and get the Lord Protector." The hole leading to the underground secret rooms has been destroyed? All the guards present are instantly in an uproar. They also understand the seriousness of the matter. If it was a legitimate entry and exit, how could the hole leading to the hole be destroyed? Immediately, the guards rush to inform all the protectors. Captain Xian Kui holds a large axe in his hand and stares at the hole with his bull-like eyes. The passage leading to the hole is covered with countless broken stones. "Xian Kui, what happened?" Yezhong is the first to arrive. He immediately shouts at Captain Xian Kui. This Captain Xian Kui is Yezhong's personal guard. Captain Xian Kui hurriedly bows and says, "I don't know either. I just found out what happened here and informed all the protectors." After a while, the 3 Black Tortoise brothers, the 2 Tiger Shark brothers, the 2 Snake Girl sisters, Yezhong and Teng Bai all arrive. "Where are Hou Fei and Lu Xing?" Yanqing asks doubtfully. Yezhong says with a smile, "Little sister Yanqing, Protector Lu Xing seems to have entered closed-door training again half a month ago. Protector Hou Fei is guarding outside. I reckon that Protector Lu Xing hasn't come out yet." As the 9 protectors speak, they walk into the hole. Seeing the broken stones at the hole, the 9 protectors have a bad feeling. They follow the passage downwards at an oblique angle and enter the group of secret rooms. However, as soon as they enter the secret rooms, the 9 protectors are dumbstruck by the scene in front of them. The secret rooms have been completely destroyed. All the broken stones have been swept to the sides. A huge open space has been cleared out in the group of secret rooms. It is 600 to 700 m in both length and width. The broken stones from the walls of the secret rooms have been piled up on one side. "Look, that's blood!" Snake Girl Xian shouts while pointing at a place in the open space. The other 8 protectors also look in the direction of her finger. There is indeed a huge pool of blood, which is caused by the fight between the blood-red aquatic python and the purple demon aquatic dragon. "Look at that deep mark on the ground. It should be caused by the tail of a huge python." Teng Bai points at a deep mark and says calmly, "The black turtle Ba Ming and his 2 brothers, the tiger shark Wu Tong and Wu Feng, the snake woman Yanqing and Shi Yan, Zhuang Zhong and Teng Bai." The 9 people carefully analyze the scene and can already confirm that a great battle has taken place here. Moreover, one of the protagonists of the fight is probably Shahon, who is in closed-door training here. The 9 protectors look at each other. A big fight has taken place here, but they have no idea about it. They also have no idea whether Shahon is alive or dead at the moment. Combined with Chap's death some time ago, they also have a bad feeling. "Let's go and see if Cave Master's soul jade slip is broken or not." Teng Bai, who has the highest power, shouts an order. The 9 protectors immediately leave the group of secret rooms and look in the direction of the room where everyone's soul jade slips are hidden. The room where the soul jade slips are hidden is checked every day. There are also guards outside. Seeing the 9 protectors arrive together, the 2 guards are immediately shocked. "Greetings, sirs." The 2 guards kneel down on one knee and say. Teng Bai looks at the guards. Yanqing shouts impatiently, "You 2 quickly open the door." The door of this room has been closed with a restrictive spell, so Yanqing and the others don't want to force it open. It's worth ordering the guards to do so. "Yes, sirs." A guard stands up and shoots several streams of demonic elemental energy into the door with a single hand. A blue light flashes, and the door opens slowly by itself. When the door is opened, the 9 protectors outside the room see the soul jade slips placed on the counter in the middle of the room. At the moment, the topmost soul jade slip has already been broken. That soul jade slip belongs to the Blood-Red Cave's master Shahon. The 9 protectors' faces change color greatly at the same time. Shahon is dead. Chapter 132. Seeing Shahon's soul jade slip shatter, everybody understands what this means. The Blood-Red Cave's master Shahon is dead. The Blood-Red Cave's master is like a group of dragons without a leader. At this moment, they simply don't need to care about who killed Shahon. Even if they investigate, they won't be able to find anything. How can these guardians deal with someone who can kill Shahon? What they need now is to choose a new cave master. The expressions of the 9 protectors changed. The 3 black turtle brothers, Ba Ming, and the other 2 look at each other. Wu Feng and Wu Tong, Yin Qing and Shi Yan, Teng Bai and Yezhong all have their own thoughts. Everybody, now that cave master is dead, we don't have any information about the murderer. But from the scene of the fight in the underground secret rooms, we can tell that the murderer fought the cave master head-on, and even transformed into their true forms. Ba Ming, the eldest of the 3 black turtle brothers, says. Wu Feng also nods and says, indeed, to be able to kill the cave master head-on, the murderer must be at least at the Dongxi stage. Oh my, Dongxi stage? That's easy to say. How many Dongxi stage experts are there in the 9 Spirits Hall? Why would an expert at this stage want to kill our cave master? Yin Qing says sarcastically. Even the cave master has been killed. What can we, the guardians, do? Teng Bai says grimly. If you don't even try, you'll be too cowardly. Yezhong says with a smile. Boss Teng, you're very powerful. You're almost at the Dongxi stage, right? You might be able to fight that murderer. As for us, we don't even have a bit of hope. Now the most important thing is not to take revenge, but to choose a new leader, the new cave master. As soon as these words are said, the other guardians' eyes brighten. What they said just now was all nonsense. The most important thing is to choose a new leader. To choose a new cave master. At least in terms of martial power. Everyone must be convinced. In my opinion, if Boss Teng becomes the cave master, we'll definitely agree. With Boss Teng's power, perhaps only the cave master can defeat him. Ba Ming says smilingly. The snake woman Shi Yin says with an enchanting smile. Boss Teng's power is unquestionable. If Boss Teng becomes the cave master, us sisters will definitely follow his lead. Wu Tong also said, we have no objections. Whoever is more powerful will be the cave master. This is the old rule. Boss Teng is stronger than us. So of course we won't stop Boss Teng from becoming the cave master. Wu Tong and Wu Feng also expressed their stance. Ahem ahem. Yezhong coughed twice, and then said with a smile. Everyone knows the rules. The strongest one becomes the cave master. Boss Teng is stronger than all of us. We don't have any objections to him being the cave master. However, just because we don't have any objections doesn't mean that the other guardians don't have any objections. Everyone, don't forget that there are still 2 guardians who haven't arrived yet. Teng Bai wasn't enthusiastic about becoming the cave master, but at the same time, he wasn't against it. As a leader, he could order his subordinates to do things. Of course, this feeling was better than just being a protector. Teng Bai was passionate about martial arts. Even if he couldn't become the cave master, he wouldn't care. However, if anyone wanted to compete with him, they would have to defeat him. That's right. There are still 2 protectors. Last time in the main hall, Protector Ho Fei almost fought with the cave master. It's hard to say how strong Protector Ho Fei is. And that big brother of his is so mysterious. He's definitely not as simple as he looks. Yin Qing also said. At this moment, these guardians were all thinking about who would become the cave master, and who would care about Shahon's death. Shahon was dead, so Shahon, Chap and Shagon would become yesterday's flowers. No one would care about them anymore. Naturally, they would be too lazy to avenge them. Most importantly, these guardians didn't dare to avenge them. Teng Bai said with an ice-cold expression. Why do we care so much? Let's go directly to Guardian Lu Xing's residence. When all the guardians gather, no matter if they fight or do something else, they'll immediately decide who the cave master is. Isn't that enough? Good idea. Let's go together. Yin Qing laughed with a silvery voice. Immediately, the 9 guardians flew directly towards Qin Yu's courtyard in the Eastern District. How big was the Red Blood Cave? With the speed of the 9 guardians, they arrived outside Qin Yu's courtyard in the Eastern District in a mere instant. 3 maids were chatting and laughing outside the courtyard. When they saw the 9 guardians land, they immediately became respectful. Sirs, my lord is now in closed-door cultivation. He ordered long ago that no one is allowed to enter. One of the maids dressed in green said hurriedly. These maids clearly remembered the order Qin Yu gave them. Guardian Tung Bai frowned. The other guardians also seemed to feel unhappy. They were about to decide who would become the new cave master. But Guardian Lu Xing was unexpectedly in closed-door cultivation and didn't allow anyone to enter. Step aside. This time, we guardians came together because we have something important to discuss. Wu Feng shouted at the three maids. Seeing Wu Feng's ferocious appearance, the three maids immediately stepped aside in fear. They were merely maids. How would they dare to block these guardians? The 9 guardians passed through the courtyard door in succession and entered the courtyard. Outside the main hall of the house, Ho Fei was sitting cross-legged. Obviously, he was blocking the way for others to enter the house. Even though the 9 guardians had already entered, Ho Fei was still sitting cross-legged with his eyes closed. He didn't move at all. The 9 guardians stood in a row. Seeing the scene before them, they looked at each other in dismay. Guardian Ho Fei, Cave Master Shahon is already dead. The guardians are discussing who the new cave master should be. Therefore, the guardians have come here to find the two of you. After all, only when all the guardians agree that the new cave master is worthy of his title. Yezhong said loudly. Hearing Yezhong's words, Ho Fei opened his eyes. Immediately, 2 substantial gazes shot out. His gaze slowly swept over every guardian. Merely his gaze made some of the guardians feel enormous and terrifying pressure. Tung Bai felt the pressure from the gaze, and his expression changed. Congratulations, Guardian Ho Fei, said Tung Bai. At this moment, Tung Bai felt that when he fought with Ho Fei, he still had a little hope. However, at this moment, there was probably no hope at all. However, he still wanted to have a big fight. Just like when Tung Bai wanted to have a big fight with Shahon. Oh my, Guardian Ho Fei unexpectedly made a breakthrough. Looks like this fight will be even more exciting. Maybe the new cave master will be Guardian Ho Fei, whose power has greatly improved. Yan Qing said with a laugh. However, Ho Fei only smiled. I'm not the new cave master. Ho Fei finally spoke. Everybody was stunned. The eldest of the 3 Black Turtle brothers, Ba Ming, immediately said, Ho Fei seems to be modest. Or is it that Guardian Ho Fei has no confidence in defeating Boss Tung? That can't be. At that time, Guardian Ho Fei wasn't even afraid of the cave master. Now that his power has greatly improved, he has no confidence. The other guardians also said that Ho Fei was modest. I'm the new vice cave master. Ho Fei said a second sentence. Everybody was stunned again. After pondering over Ho Fei's words, the 9 guardians finally understood what he meant. Who can be the vice cave master? Usually, only the brothers of the same family can be the vice cave master. Who is Ho Fei's brother? Of course it is that mysterious guardian Lu Xing, protector Ho Fei. What you said is incorrect. Regardless of how powerful you are, even if your strength surpasses all the protectors, even if you are able to become the cave master, it does not mean that protector Lu Xing is able to become the cave master. The position of cave master is based on strength, not on giving way. Yan Qing said with slight dissatisfaction. Ho Fei's monkey face laughed mischievously. But he didn't say anything. Guardian Lu Xing's power is not bad. But if he wants to be the cave master, he has to at least pass me. Tung Bai said coldly. Tung Bai admired the strong the most. If a weak person was forcefully promoted to the position of cave master only because of his brother, Tung Bai would definitely not accept it and would not listen to orders. Not only Tung Bai, the others also had this thought in their hearts. In the Xiuzhen world, strength is everything. Oh, it seems you want to fight with my big brother? Ho Fei gave a strange smile. Don't worry, my big brother is meditating at the moment. You only need to wait for 2 to 4 hours, and he will come out immediately. In these 2 to 4 hours, you can prepare yourself well. Tung Bai, however, looked at Ho Fei and said coldly. Prepare? He is not much of a threat to me. I want to challenge you first. Challenge me? Ho Fei was startled. The other guardians all burst out laughing. Ba Ming said as if he didn't panic. Guardian Ho Fei, just accept. Boss Ting is very powerful. You two are the most powerful among us guardians. If you fight, it will definitely be very exciting. Yan Qing, Shi Yan Wu Tong, Wu Feng and the other guardians all looked at Ho Fei and Tung Bai. Ho Fei looked at them and thought for a while before saying helplessly, "All right then, you go first." Holding a black stick, Ho Fei stood there without any vigilance. He looked at Tung Bai in front of him carelessly. Tung Bai stretched out his fists. Streaks of silver light shot out from them. "Good, take this." At the moment, Tung Bai was full of fighting spirit. He could feel the pressure from Ho Fei, but he became even more excited. His eyes gradually turned red. He suddenly opened his fists and formed a claw shape. Tung Bai's body moved and turned into an afterimage. In a flash, he arrived in front of Ho Fei. Ho Fei moved his right arm. The originally still black stick turned into a streak of black lightning and smashed directly on Tung Bai's afterimage with a terrifying speed. With a bang sound, Tung Bai was sent flying away. He had no power to resist. The other guardians were stupefied. Tung Bai had been an absolutely powerful expert for so many years in their minds. He was even close to the Dongxu stage. However, they simply did not know that Ho Fei, who had reached the late stage of Yuanying, was equivalent to the late stage of Dongxu. The gap between them was too big. Tung Bai's body was sent flying for several tens of meters. He then flew back and landed next to the other guardians. Guardian Ho Fei's power is really strong. Tung Bai admits defeat. Tung Bai was not dispirited at all. However, he continued, "According to my feeling, Guardian Ho Fei's power should be above that of Cave Master Shahon. If Guardian Ho Fei wants to be Cave Master, I naturally have no objection. But Guardian Lu Xing, if his own power is not enough to convince the masses, I will definitely not approve of him." Ho Fei cackled. "You idiot, you want to taste my big brother's power? Good, you'll get a taste in a while. Alright, don't waste time there. You were injured by my stick just now. Hurry up and heal your wounds. When you're healed, my big brother will come out of closed-door training." Tung Bai nodded. He immediately sat down cross-legged and began to cultivate. The other guardians were all shocked by Ho Fei's power. However, seeing how confident Ho Fei was in Qin Yu, they also began to wonder how much power Qin Yu actually had. In the hearts of these guardians, Qin Yu was really a bit mysterious. Ho Fei, however, was secretly laughing. "You're looking down on my big brother. There's too little time now. In a while, big brother will only reach the middle stage of Lu Xing. If he's given a few days to reach the late stage of Lu Xing, even if I want to beat him, I'll probably have to enter a berserk state. However, if Lu Xing is the middle stage of Lu Xing's big brother, he'll probably be able to surpass that Shahon." Just now, Ho Fei said he wanted to be the vice cave master, because Qin Yu heard the voices of the 9 guardians, and immediately transmitted his voice to Ho Fei. If he wants to be the cave master, he naturally has to establish his power personally. In the room, Qin Yu sat cross-legged. Rays of golden light wrapped around Qin Yu. The purple Yuanying stopped being refined. At this moment, Qin Yu was at a critical juncture, from the early stage of Lu Xing to the middle stage of Lu Xing. In the Dantian, a large number of silver stars formed a hazy nebula in the boundless space of the Dantian. They rotated at an extremely fast speed. A quail-egg-sized golden bead was in the center of the nebula. Rays of golden light were constantly shooting out from this golden bead. Kacha! With a crisp sound, the golden bead actually split into 3, and once again turned into golden granules. The 3 golden granules began to rotate in a spherical orbit, influencing each other. In the center of the 3 golden granules was the star fire. At the same time the golden bead shattered, countless silver granules also shattered into 2 halves. Immediately, the number of silver granules doubled. After a moment, Qin Yu's Dantian returned to calmness. Qin Yu opened his eyes with a hint of a smile on the corners of his mouth. He said in a clear voice, "Guardian Tung Bai, please get ready. I'm going to make a move." In the courtyard, Qin Yu's voice echoed clearly in the air above the courtyard. All the guardians heard it clearly. Black Turtle Ba Ming and his 2 brothers, Snake Girl and Snake Girl, Wu Tong, and Yezhong immediately paid close attention. Tung Bai, who had already recovered from his minor injuries, also gathered all his power. Tung Bai's aura was fierce. His entire power was raised to the extreme. He was ready to give Qin Yu his strongest blow at any time. Suddenly, A golden ray of light shot out from the room at a frightening speed. Tung Bai clearly sensed that it was Qin Yu's aura. He immediately threw a punch. However, before his fist was completely thrown out, his body was already thrown out. Like a sandbag, he was thrown hundreds of meters away. Blood even spurted out. At this moment, everyone could see clearly that Qin Yu was standing at Tung Bai's original position. What an amazing speed! All the guardians were dumbfounded. Even Hou Fei was shocked. When Qin Yu was at the early stage of Lu Xing, his speed had already shocked Hou Fei. Now Qin Yu's speed was even more terrifying. At Lu Xing's level, fighting depended on speed and the rapid condensation of his golden star power. Guardians, do you have any objections to my big brother being the cave master and me being the vice cave master? Hou Fei said smilingly to the shocked guardians and Tung Bai, who had just flown back with a face full of disbelief and serious injuries. Dressed in a black robe, Qin Yu glanced at the guardians. Seeing their reactions, the corners of Qin Yu's mouth turned up slightly. He already knew what they were thinking. 9 Spirits Hall, where the soul jade slips were stored. Every day, special people would come to check the place where the soul jade slips were stored to see if anyone from the 9 Spirits Hall had died. Now it was time for today's check. A guard captain opened the restrictive spells and walked into the room. On the highest level of the counter, there were 9 soul jade slips, which represented the 9 majesties of the 9 Spirits Hall. As usual, the guard captain casually glanced at the highest level. Those were the soul jade slips of the 9 majesties. Suddenly, his pupils dilated. With a shocked expression on his face, he stared blankly at the highest level. He saw that the 8th soul jade slip on the highest level had already broken into pieces. 8th Majesty is dead. The guard captain's face was deathly pale. Soon after, he came to his senses. His body immediately turned into a beam of light and rushed towards the location of First Majesty Di Long at his fastest speed. The guard captain did not know who had killed 8th Majesty, but he could already foresee the fury of the majesties of the 9 Spirits Hall and the fate of that murderer. Chapter 133. There are numerous ravines in this huge underwater mountain range. Many magnificent and noble caves are located one after another on the top of the underwater mountain, on the mountainside or on the flat ground. At first glance, tens of thousands of caves have been built and Zooists are coming and going in groups. Compared to the Blood Red Ridge, this place is much more prosperous. In the middle of this huge underwater mountain range, the huge 9 Spirits Hall has been built. Standing on the 9 Spirits Hall, one can see how small all the other mountains are. None of the other caves is as tall as the 9 Spirits Hall. The 9 Spirits Hall occupies an even larger area than the 9 Spirits Hall. The 9 Spirits Hall as a whole is in the shape of 12 capital gates. 12 palaces have been built at the 12 formation eyes. Between the 12 palaces, there are gardens, courtyards, pavilions, and so on. The number of guards in the entire 9 Spirits Hall has reached an astonishing several tens of thousands. It can be said that the number of guards in the 9 Spirits Hall alone is comparable to that in the Blood Red Ridge. In the 9 Spirits Hall, Great Majesty Di Long's palace, Di Long Palace. Di Long is wearing a purple robe. He is sitting casually on a chair and slowly drinking wine in his cup. He looks like he is enjoying himself very much. Even though he is enjoying himself, Di Long's entire body naturally gives off a kind of oppressive feeling. After drinking a cup, the beautiful maids beside him immediately help him fill it up. Life is limitless, so we should enjoy every moment to the fullest. Don't you think I'm right, girls? Di Long strokes his hard stubble and asks the 2 charming maids beside him casually. One of the maids, who looks charming, hurriedly says, "Great Majesty is right. Great Majesty is wise." Di Long nods his head in satisfaction. Drops of sweat seep out of the 2 maids' brows. This Great Majesty is very eccentric and overbearing. If their reaction cannot satisfy Di Long, perhaps the result, even thinking about it, makes them tremble with fear. While Di Long is enjoying his wine, Great Majesty, something bad has happened. Something bad has happened. Rapid shouts suddenly rise outside Di Long Palace. Di Long frowns. His eyes flash with coldness. Who are you? This is Dilong Palace. Trespassers will be killed without question. The chief guard of Dilong Palace shouts loudly. At this moment, the captain of the guards who had rushed over suddenly stopped. His heart was trembling. He had just received news of the 8th prince's death, and he was so terrified that he had forgotten the rules of the 9 Spirits Hall. Trespassing into 12 palaces was a death sentence. Your Highness, I am the captain of the guards in charge of the Soul Jade Slips. Let him in. When Dilong heard the word Soul Jade Slip, his heart trembled. For the captain of the Soul Jade Slip to be so nervous, something big must have happened. After receiving the order, that guard leader rushes into Dilong Palace at once. Tell me what happened. Dilong says coldly. The guard captain suddenly knelt down on one knee. Sweat began to seep out of his face. He said in alarm, Your Highness, something bad has happened. When I went to check the Soul Jade Slip today, I discovered. The guard captain stuttered. He even felt his throat dry up. Tell me quickly, tell me clearly, otherwise I'll kill you directly. Seeing that the guard captain could not say the most important thing, Dilong could not help becoming furious. The guard captain swallowed hard, then said, 8th Prince, it was 8th Prince. What happened to 8th Prince? Don't talk nonsense. You can't talk nonsense about this matter. Be careful or your soul will scatter. Dilong suddenly stood up and shouts furiously. Dilong already had a guess, but he did not want to believe it. 8th Prince is dead. His Soul Jade Slip has been broken. The guard captain was frightened inside. Your Highness, I'm definitely not lying. I saw it with my own eyes. Dilong's face immediately turned pale. In an instant, Dilong remembers how the 9 little aquatic dragons lived with difficulty when they were young. Their lives were always threatened at all times. The 9 little aquatic dragons worked together to kill and rob others, or devour other demonic beasts. All along the way, the 9 brothers helped each other to kill one enemy after another. They stepped on other people's corpses to reach a higher position. Finally, after several thousand years, the 9 Dilong underwent the 6 in 9 heavenly tribulation and took human form. At the same time, they also became one of the 3 superpowers of the underwater Shuya world. The 9 brothers were all called majesties in the 9 Spirits Hall. None of them was higher than the other. Even though Dilong, the Great Majesty, was the most powerful one, he was still only a majesty, not a hall master. The 9 brothers were blood brothers. Their feelings for each other were simply not something that other people could understand. 8th brother. Dilong's deep voice rose. His eyes began to redden. Ah! Dilong suddenly raised his arms high and roared madly in pain. With Dilong as the center, a frantic blast of energy suddenly exploded in all directions. The 2 mates behind him were immediately blown to pieces, without being able to resist at all. The kneeling guard captain hurriedly dodged, but one of his legs was still blown off. Dilong Hall was instantly covered in blood. Di Qing, Di Su, Di Yang, Di Feng, Di Jian, Dilwan, Di Nai. The 7 of you, go to the place where the Soul Jade Slips are kept immediately. Dilong suddenly shouts coldly. His voice resounds through the entire 9 Spirits Hall and reverberates non-stop. Dilong himself immediately pierces through the air with a whooshing sound and rushes towards the place where the Soul Jade Slips are kept. The Soul Jade Slips are kept in a pavilion. In the past, few people came here often. Apart from the guards protecting the Soul Jade Slips in the pavilion, the 9 majesties rarely came here. However, at this moment various purple rays of light descend from the sky. With a flash of light, a person appears. In an instant, the 8 of them land outside the pavilion where the Soul Jade Slips are kept. The other 7 majesties look at each other. They all have a bad feeling in their hearts. Under normal circumstances, their big brother Dilong would call them second brother, third brother or second brother, and third brother very enthusiastically. But just now he called them by their names directly. Big brother, what actually happened? Second brother Di Qing hurriedly asks. Big brother, you told us to come here. Could it be that some people died? But those subordinates have already died. Why did you tell us to come here? Was it worth it? Fourth brother Di Yang curls his lips and says. Suddenly, fourth brother Di Yang seems to think of something. His face changes color. Big brother, could it be? Dilong's expression is frighteningly unsightly. He immediately kicks with his foot. His powerful demonic elemental energy directly rips apart that restrictive spell. Pung! The door of the pavilion is shattered. Dilong, Di Qing and the other 7 majesties all see clearly that the 8th soul jade slip at the top has already been shattered. Seeing this scene, the other 7 majesties' faces start to change color almost at the same time. Anger, killing intent, pain. The other 7 majesties' expressions also change completely. All of them feel pain in their hearts. Their killing intent becomes even more monstrous. At the moment, outside the pavilion where the soul jade slips are, the killing intent of the 8 majesties fills the air. A terrifying oppressive feeling covers the entire 9 spirits hall. For several thousand years, the 9 brothers have supported each other. They have been cruel and merciless to their enemies, and have killed them without batting an eye. But the 9 brothers can block swords and sabers for each other. They have a very deep affection for each other. Big brother, tell me who killed 8th brother. Who did it? I'll go and tear him apart alive. Di Su's whole body trembles. He shouts at Dilong with very red eyes. Dilong, however, remains silent. Kill, who did it? Who killed 8th brother? I'll definitely avenge 8th brother. Avenge 8th brother. Second brother Di Qing also cannot restrain the anger in his heart. All the majesties in the 9 spirits hall wish they could eat the murderer's flesh and drink his blood. However, how can First Majesty Dilong, who is being questioned, know who the murderer is? He only knows that his 8th brother has just died. Who can kill a middle Dongxi stage purple demon aquatic dragon within 90 million li of the 9 spirits hall? Big brother. An ice-cold voice rises. It is none other than 6th brother Di Jian. Among the 9 purple demon aquatic dragon brothers, the eldest brother Dilong ranks first in terms of power, and is at the late Dongxi stage. 8th brother Di Tong ranks third in terms of power, and is at the middle Dongxi stage. The one who ranks second is 6th brother Di Jian, who is usually rather taciturn, and has reached the late Dongxi stage. Tell me who the murderer is. I'll go and catch him. Di Jian's eyes flash with coldness like arrows. The other brothers all understand what Di Jian means. Why do they want to kill the murderer? They want to catch the murderer and torture him slowly. They want him to live a life worse than death. They want him to experience one torture after another, so that he can neither live nor die. Only by doing this can they be reconciled. Dilong takes a look at his brothers, who are filled with killing intent, and says helplessly with a shake of his head, "Murderer? I still don't know who the murderer is. Everybody knows 8th brother's power. Who could have killed him? But I only know one thing. 2 years ago, I sent him to infiltrate the Red Blood Cave for one of the 9 swords. Now that he has died, it should have something to do with the Red Blood Cave." The Red Blood Cave? Second brother Di Qing frowns. Even though the Red Blood Cave's master Shahon is pretty strong, he was still no match for 8th brother. Di Jian says coldly, "Why are you talking so much? Let's go to the Red Blood Cave to investigate first. We'll definitely find some clues. If we really can't find the murderer, then we'll kill everyone who might be the murderer." Di Jian's eyes are bone-chillingly cold. If he has killed someone, he will not let them off. None of the other brothers object to Di Jian's words. Instead, their eyes emit astonishing killing intent. In the eyes of the 8 brothers, all the other experts in the entire underwater world of Zooists, put together, are inferior to 8th brother. Anyone who dares to kill one of their brothers is an enemy of the 8 of them. Dilong immediately orders, "Alright, 8th brother is already at the middle Dongxi stage, so we have to be at least at the Dongxi stage to kill him. There are only so many Dongxi stage Zooists in the entire underwater world. But we'll wait until the last one. We'll investigate first. If we can't find anything, we'll carry out the last one. Brothers, who wants to go to the Red Blood Cave to investigate?" "Big brother, you stay in charge of the 9 spirits hall." "I'll go," Di Jian says coldly. The other brothers secretly nod. In terms of power, this cold Di Jian is definitely second only to Big brother. Moreover, some of them suspect that Di Jian's power may even surpass Big brother's. After all, both Dilong and Di Jian are at the late Dongxi stage. Since Di Jian is going personally, everybody feels relieved. I'll go too. Second brother Di Qing also says. Seventh brother Di Luan also says. I'll go too. I'd like to see who actually killed eighth brother. Seventh brother Di Luan is filled with killing intent. Seeing that the other brothers all want to go and investigate, Di Long immediately says, sixth brother, second brother and seventh brother will go together. It'll be enough. With the three of them, perhaps nobody will be able to kill them. The rest of you stay in charge of the Nine Spirits Hall with me. Di Jian and the other two brothers' attacks are indeed very powerful. Perhaps only the overlord of the Blue Dragon Temple, Azure Dragon, an old freak three-eyed of the Blue River Province can kill them. However, these two are the supreme existences among underwater Zuyoists, so how can they possibly lower themselves to kill people in the Nine Spirits Hall at will? Big brother, the three of us shouldn't tarry. We'll set off right away. Second brother Di Qing folds his hands. Di Jian and Di Luan also fold their hands and bid farewell to their brothers. Second brother, sixth brother, seventh brother, I'll leave eighth brother's revenge to you. Di Long says solemnly. Di Su, Di Yang, Di Feng and Di Nai also fold their hands and bid farewell to Di Jian and the other two brothers. Afterwards, Di Jian, Di Qing and Di Luan immediately turn into beams of light and leave the Nine Spirits Hall. In the main hall of the Red Blood Cave, Qing Yu flings his robe and sits down directly in the main hall. There are two thrones on each side of Qing Yu's seat. Ho Fei is sitting on one of them while the other is still empty. It is none other than the one Qing Yu reserved for Kuro, Cave Master. The three Black Tortoise brothers, the two tiger sharks Wu Tong and Wu Feng, the two snake women Yin Qing and Shi Yan, Yezhong and Tung Bai. The nine guardians bow and say respectfully at the same time. Since Qin Yu defeated Tung Bai with one strike, the nine guardians no longer doubt Qin Yu's power. As for Ho Fei's power, there is no need to doubt it. Cave Master. The 50 squad leaders kneel down on one knee and say at the same time. These 50 squad leaders represent the 5,000 guardians. Now they also know that Shahon is dead, and that the new Cave Master is Guardian Lu Xing here. I'm going to announce some rules. Qin Yu looks down at the 9 guardians, and the 50 squad leaders below, and says indifferently. Everybody below listens respectfully to his order. From now on, my Red Blood Cave is no longer the main Cave Master and Vice Cave Master. It's the Cave Master, Second Cave Master and Third Cave Master. There is no difference between the 3 Cave Masters. You can learn from the 9 Hall Masters of the 9 Spirits Hall. Do you all understand, Guardians? Qin Yu's first order had caused everyone below to be shocked. To Qin Yu, the Cave Master position is not very important. The reason why he has occupied the Red Blood Cave is so that he and his brothers can establish themselves. Qin Yu is not willing to be under someone else's command. Moreover, Qin Yu knows that the 9 Spirits Hall will definitely not let Di Tong's death off the hook so easily. Facing the 9 Spirits Hall, Qin Yu and his 2 brothers naturally work together as one. Even if the sky falls and the earth rends, as long as the 3 brothers work together, what obstacle can they not overcome? However, at the moment Qin Yu does not know how deep the bond between the 9 brothers of the 9 Spirits Hall is, and how furious and hateful the 8 majesties of the 9 Spirits Hall are. Even the 3 majesties led by Di Jian have already rushed here. You're tuning in to the Earbook Haven YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.